Summary.
My name is Shaylin Greenleaf. I was born in the kingdom of Dullendirk in the elven realm of Ulfheim. I say I was born there, but I don't live there. I live in the realm of Earth. Humans, werewolves, witches, and vampires. They live in relative harmony. With wars among the humans, and wars among the other 3 species. Odd bunch. My father banished me on my 16th birthday. I had discovered it was he who killed my mother. He blamed me for it, because I wasn't a boy at birth. He remarried to an awful woman. She was able to give him 2 sons. Good for him. The whole family of 4 are slimy elves. All of them with self-serving agendas. He wants me dead. It's impossible for elves to kill their own blood relatives, but they can hire it done. I am next in line for the throne, and my father, Callan Greenleaf, wants my brother, Galpar, to ascend. Guess what? So do I. I have no intention being queen to a bunch of elves who consort with the dark and blood elves of the realm. I was refused an audience with our Lord Coralin, because I was not allowed to spew my vitriol to anyone, and I was banished to the Outlands. But Fouquet that. I found a mirror and opened a portal to anywhere but there, which was here, and now they've found me.
Chapter 1, Just Saying.
Walking into the diner, I look around. Not busy yet, and I am grateful. It gives me time to prep the salad bar, which seems stupid. We serve wolves, not rabbits. But the she-wolves around here have to look after their figures, apparently. Nobody ever told them about their high metabolism from shifting, I reckon. Ernie comes in from the back. I didn't hear you come in, sweet girl. Is the bell broken again? I shake my head. Nope, it's working. Your hearing must be going, old man. He chuckles, old man. Uh-huh. Want to go out back and spar a bit? I'll show you, old man. I love Ernie. And his mate, Everlie. They are turned wolves, and so choose to live in town. This lovely little burg known as Haven Falls. Turned wolves are any shifters not born that way. When Ernie was 11, he and his parents were camping in the mountains of Colorado. Wolves attacked, leaving everyone for dead. The rogue who attacked Ernie had inadvertently released venom when he sliced into Ernie's femoral artery. Werewolf healing kicked in, and he shifted. The Alpha of Silver Steel Pack found Ernie. After his first shift, easily identifiable by that new wolf smell? Who the hell knows? Anyway, because Ernie was a child, the Alpha more or less adopted him, raised him with his young children, and taught him the way of the wolf. Everlie and Ernie met his senior year of high school. She was still human, but he recognized her as his mate. Once he explained to her that she had a 50-50 chance of turning. She explained she wanted to try, that she was ready to spend her life with him. He brought her to Alpha Steel and asked for permission, and they marked and mated that night. She's a beautiful russet-toned wolf named Oriole, and I just love her. I'm still just an ordinary run-of-the-mill elf. But who knows? Maybe I will have a wolfy mate too. I mean, have you seen these guys? Sculpted by the goddess herself. There I go. Daydreaming again. I looked at Ernie. After work, can you come to mine and help me? 2 more assassins showed up in the night. They're heftier than the last ones, and I need help getting them in the incinerator. He nods and asks, the alarms we set seem to be working, yeah. Ernie and Everlie have been my salvation. He found me the 3rd night I was here in this realm. I was wet and cold, hungry, recovering from the beating I took when I tried to see Lord Coralin to report and provide proof my father had murdered my mother. They more or less adopted me as their own, clothed me, fed me, saw me through my last 2 years of high school. I owe my life to these people, and I would gladly give it to protect them. My salad bar is prepped, and I have rolled 100 sets of silverware. Now I am preparing racks of lamb for lamb à la orange as our special tonight. 2 soup choices, French onion and cheddar broccoli. With their choices of sides, the cooks are setting up the line. For the cheeseburger and chicken-eating customers, I do specialties and tend bar. Everlie asks about dessert, and I say, I made orange creme brulee for the lamb, and there's cheesecake and apple pies. She grins happily. We will be back after date night for some creme brulee. Put some aside, yeah. I went to the schedule and saw my servers tonight are Mandy and Amy. Oh, Everly, why is Amy on my service? Seriously, y'all are going to get me arrested for murder. She laughed and said, Alpha Aaron Steele is coming in with 7 gentlemen. An 8 top is too much for Mandy yet, and Amy was the only other server who agreed to come in on such short notice. I think it has more to do with the young Alpha than actually wanting to work. Shaking my head, I shouted over my shoulder, Don't blame me if you come back to find an Amy-sized popsicle in the walk-in. I will not tolerate her bullying Mandy again. I have such an aversion to mean girls. Ernie suggests we only let her serve the Alpha's party, then go home. I remark, That's all well and good, unless we get busy. Even so, she is mean by nature and loves to berate Mandy. I have warned her twice. 3rd time, and I drop her like a stone. Just sayin'.
Chapter 2, Loud Man in the Corner, Aaron Steele's POV.
I am not looking forward to meeting the council tonight. Didn't want them here, at the pack house, so I agreed to a dinner meeting at Ernesto's. That brought a smile. Ernie is no more in Ernesto than I am king. But he said it sounds more prestigious. My stepbrother has grandiose ideas. My beta, Gavin, walks in dragging a whining gamma behind him. I ask, What, Evan? What now? You are going to this dinner with us, whether you like it or not. You have had a migraine, ptomaine poisoning, an ingrown toenail, and a toothache so far today. What new ailment have you come up with? He grumbles. Fine, never mind then. Gavin shakes his head. He regresses every day. This time, next month, you'll have a full-grown toddler on your hands. I smirk and tell him, I'm ready to join the ptomaine bandwagon myself. I do not want to listen to those 4 old men preach about my love life, or lack thereof. Evan asks, Are all 5 of the council showing up? I shake my head again. Councilman Edward is not coming. Didn't ask why. Because I simply do not care. Gavin says, Fuck. He's the only one I like, while Evan agrees, saying same. I dress in a dark gray suit, white shirt and light blue silk tie. Figured I'd wear the tie to show off my dark hair and ice blue eyes. It always surprises people when I shift into Artemis. He is the only snow-white male wolf in existence. He is more powerful and smarter than any other wolf. No one knows why he is a white wolf, but it is by the goddess's design, so that makes us a proud pair. We head out to meet these jackasses at the restaurant, and Evan is singing some stupid song by what sounds like a little girl. After a minute or so, Gavin snaps, I am going to hit you, baby, 1 more time. And for some reason, that struck me as funny enough to lift my entire mood. Gavin looks over at me with a sly look. Wonder if Amy is on shift tonight. I groan out my frustration. Goddess, I hope not. Fuck a girl 1 time, and she becomes a leech. My patience is non-existent as it is, so let's pray she's not there. Arriving at the restaurant, I see all the councilmen waiting in front, and I check my watch. They're early, which only means one thing: impatient fukers. They always show up early when they're preparing a verbal battle. They best hope they have their big girl panties on, because I don't see this going well. Walking in, Amy is right up in our faces, and I groan inwardly this time. She takes us to the roped-off dining area, reserved for elite customers, and drops the menus. She takes our drink order and walks over to the bar. 4 whiskey sours, Apple Crown Royal and 7. 2 bottles domestic. Need me to write it down, elf girl? The girl snaps her head up and snarls quietly. Disrespect me again, and you won't be able to write at all. Interesting. Our food was delivered, and the councilman started talking. Mitchell says, We are wanting your help with a particular problem. It seems the witches have discovered a mirrored portal from the kingdom of Dullendirk in the elf realm. There hasn't been any reports of elf sightings, but we fear it's only a matter of time. We don't need any blood elves sneaking up here, stealing witches and wolves for their blood. I asked, wait, you think it's blood elves? Why would they risk such a thing? 2 centuries ago, we almost wiped them completely out. I need to see this portal. Then Glenn says, we also want to talk about your mate. I interrupted him and asked, you've found her? He stutters and stammers out, what? No, but... And I interrupted him again. But then there's nothing to discuss. I haven't found her. And when I do, you will be the last people I tell. I looked around for Amy. Needing water and coffee brought to the table for the dessert? Didn't see her, so I asked the other server to help me out. She nodded and scurried off. Deep in conversation, I didn't see the other girl come back with a pitcher of water. I did, however, see Amy Speed walking in her direction. The next thing I knew, Jeffrey was screaming at the top of his lungs to see the manager. Which, okay, he's a little soaked. But this poor girl is practically vibrating in fear. And Amy is calling her every name in the book, accusing her of trying to steal her tips. I watched the whole thing and realized somehow Amy orchestrated this entire symphony. The other girl is shaking and absolutely terrified. I don't like that. It certainly shines a whole new light on the kind of person Amy really is. I asked the girl quietly, will you please bring your manager for the very loud man in the corner?
Chapter 3, She's Been Warned.
I hate paperwork, yet here I sit, ordering supplies and making payroll. Mandy slams through the office door, tears streaming down her face, saying a jumble of things that I try to puzzle out. Alpha water coffee Amy, soaking wet, mad at me, demanding manager. I am puzzled. Water? Amy is soaking wet and mad? Why the fuck does she want to see me? She shakes her head furiously and tries again. The alpha asked me for water and coffee. I was bringing it to his table when I guess I tripped. The water went flying across the room, soaking some guy, and he's hella mad now. Demanding to see you. I don't even know how I tripped. I sat down and ran the video feed back. I pulled her into a chair and hit the play icon. We watched as Alpha Steel asked her for water. No sign of Amy whatsoever. Mandy retrieved a pitcher of ice water from the kitchen and stopped by the bar to fill a thermos pitcher with coffee. Thank goddess she tightened the lid on it. She walks toward the table, and out of the side room rushed Amy. Ah, that's where she was. Her uniform is unbuttoned, exposing her bra, and her skirt looks 4 inches shorter. Her eyes and lips are heavily made up, getting all purty for the alpha. I watch as Amy's leg shoots out and catches the back of Mandy's shoe. That's how she tripped. Then I listen to the dialogue. Standing, I say, wait here, and marched my ass out to that table. I walk straight to Amy and tell her, you are to be in my office at end of shift. I have warned you twice. 3rd strike. Turning to face the table, I apologize. I am very sorry for your experience with Ernesto's this evening. I will be comping the entire table, gentlemen. The drenched guy sneered. Not good enough, lady. I want that waitress fired. She is incompetent and ungracious. This suit cost $2,000. It will be replaced. And I smiled. My polished no bullshit smile and replied, I agree. That server will be fired, just not the one you think, and not for the reasons you believe. I am sorry you have to replace your suit. $2,000? For that kind of money, you should have had it insured. He yelled, this establishment will pay to replace my suit. You are to be held accountable. And I smiled again, keeping it together almost. No, sir. We will not be replacing that suit. You are free to go after the girl I am firing tonight. Although unemployed, I don't see her being able to do that. Our establishment has incurred enough for tonight's fiasco. I have comped a $300 ticket. He yelled again. Damn. This is unacceptable. I will have you run out of business. Shoddy service. Careless staff. Rude management. This time, I laughed. You're going to run us out of business? Please, go for it. My staff are not careless. And if your service was shoddy, maybe your server should have been more interested in working the menu instead of working her assets. If you catch my meaning. And you can bet your sweet ass management is rude. It also has attitude, if you want. We can do this little song and dance all night. I'm ready. Bottom line is, bucko, we will not replace your suit. Sue Amy. The girl bringing your water was intentionally tripped by Amy out of jealousy. I have the video to prove it. This smooth as Tennessee whiskey voice asks, may I take a look at that video? I have had dealings with Amy before. Yep, that voice is like what an orgasm must feel like. I stammer through and, yeah, sure. I guess. Follow me? He laughed and says, lead the way. The guy asks questions all the way to my office. High entourage of old guys following. Wetsuit guy wouldn't shut up with his grumbling. I rounded a corner and stopped in front of a cabinet. Removing several towels, I threw them at him. Here, dry off while you cool down. You are not going to terrorize my employees with your self-righteous, pompous attitude. I reached to open my door, remembering Mandy is in there. Maybe only you. And one other person? It's small. He tells me sure and says a guy's name. Gavin. We walk in the door and Mandy is on her knees, crying. I'm so sorry, Alpha. It was an accident. I will find a way to pay for it. And I stood her up. Oh no, you don't. Amy did this. You have nothing. Nothing to apologize for. Did Amy come in here? At her nod. I asked them, Mandy. Play the video for the Alpha. And call an ambulance. I headed to the door, and Alpha Steel says, wait, ambulance? Who needs an ambulance? Stepping out, I hear Mandy say, Amy will. She's been warned.
Chapter 4. We're sisters for real. Aaron's POV.
I followed the girl out, just in time to see her drag Amy out the back door by the hair of her head. Gavin and I ran to the door. Not sure if stopping it was the plan or watching Amy get her ass kicked. I'm going with the latter. The girl hasn't touched her yet, well, other than slamming Amy to the ground. She says, you think to tell Mandy that Alpha Steel was banishing her for spilling water on some numbnuts councilman. You think to make her believe she was getting fired, knowing she is the only source of income for her mom and those kids? What the fuck is wrong with you? Now, I am dumbfounded as fuck. How did we get from, was Amy in here, and a nod, to knowing everything that was said? My reverie was broken by Amy yelling, it was her fault. She shouldn't have gone anywhere near Aaron's table. I snapped, never refer to me by my given name without Alpha in front of it. You dare disrespect me? The girl. Damn it. Why didn't I get her name? She snarls at Amy. I warned you twice, Amy. I told you last time. If you made her cry again, I would kill you. Remember that? Well, today's your lucky day. I won't kill you. But you're going to wish you were dead. Laughing sarcastically. What are you going to do, Shaylin? Wiggle your little elf ears and turn me to stone? Ah, elf. That explains a lot. Shaylin laughs. I don't need magic to beat your ass. And she punched her. Not a cat fight where one girl punches the other with the heel of their palm. A full-on, shoulder-weighted swing from waist height. With a perfect little fist. Right in the mouth. Stepping in, Shaylin threw a series of 3 punches and leaned away, giving Amy fair chance. She shifted into her wolf, and before I could motivate myself, she lunged, only to be caught by Shaylin and fall to the ground unconscious. What the hell just happened? Shaylin, not taking her eyes from Amy. True warrior, says that. That was a stupid bitch thinking she could one-up an elf by shifting, otherwise known as a pressure point coma. She's down for a good 20 minimum. Gavin whistles. Holy fuck. Handy dandy little thing to know, right there. Would you teach me? She looked up grinning and started to say "Siree" when our eyes met. This little elf is my mate. Wait, why didn't I know? Holy shit, I have a mate, and she's beautiful. Why didn't we know? Shaylin speaks softly. An elf only knows when the eyes meet. Scent and touch come after. I grin at her and ask, will you accept me? She grins across her whole face. Accept you? Hells yeah. I was just fantasizing about you earlier. Well, not you. You specifically. But about finding my mate. Will you accept me? I smile again. Absolutely. And Gavin picked Amy up, walking back with us to the office. Mandy asks, should I cancel the ambulance? Shaylin laughs. Yes, I want her to wake up with the headache that comes from stupidity. She's funny, this maid of mine. I can't wait to hear her story. How'd she end up here, I wonder? Not complaining? Not a bit? Just curious? Gavin links Luna, huh? I like her. Me too, bro. Mandy sets the video to play, and we watch the whole thing. It happened exactly like Shaylin said. I walked back out to Jeffrey. It happened exactly as we were told. Amy was the cause of it all. Good night, gentlemen. I will call you when we will want to see the portal. Ernie and Everly walk in and ask why there's a wolf on the sofa. Shaylin replies, that's Amy. I warned her. Everly shakes her head. What did you do? Shaylin laughs and asks, why is it always me who does it? She shifted and charged me, and I convinced her to take a little nap. Ernie busted out laughing. Convinced her, did ya? Maybe a little PPC convincing? She laughed and said, should have never shown me, right? He notices me for the first time. Hey, little bro, what brings you here? I hug him, responding, getting a free dinner and a show, and meeting my mate, which is why I saved the best for last. He looked confused, so I explained everything and reached my arm out for Shaylin to step into as I finished up. Ernie said, oh, little bro, you're in for a fun ride with this one. Never a dull moment. Always in trouble. Sticking her nose where it don't belong. Do you see my hair? Look at all the gray I have now. She did this to me. She laughed, looking at Ernie. You are such a liar. Every gray hair on your head is from old age. And I will have you know, I haven't caused any mayhem for 2 weeks. We all enjoyed a laugh at her expense, since I just witnessed her method of managing her unruly staff. Everly grabbed her in a huge hug and squealed, we're gonna be sisters for real.
Chapter 5. Let's destroy another portal.
I am giddy. Such a good word. Even saying it makes me giddy. I have a mate. Not just any mate. The most gorgeous hunk of man meat this side of the universe. And he's mine, my mate. He asks, what time do you get off? I would really like to get to know you. And now I'm thinking, crap. I have 2 dead guys in my basement I have to fry. And I absolutely have to do that unless. How about we go to my house, and I will fix us a drink. I just need your help with something in my basement. Sound okay? He nods and I grab my purse, while he tells Gavin to put Amy in the cells for now. On the ride to mine, I tell him about my mother, Arwen, my father, Callan, his heinous wife, Hildy, short for Hildegard. Awful name for an awful woman. My 2 half-brothers, Truane and Galber. And oh, because I know what my father is guilty of, and he wants Galber on the throne. He sends assassins after me, hence the need for help in my basement. He sits quietly. Then he says, I know where they're coming through. What happens if we break the mirror portal? I shrugged. They would find a way to get another. There aren't supposed to be any mirrors in Dullendurk, but my father is king after all. We get to my house, and I set the coffee beans out to breathe a few minutes before I grind them. Then we go to the basement, and I fire up the kiln. Aaron lifts one up and asked, "How the hell did you get them down here?" Laughing, I said, "I rolled their fat asses on blankets and dragged them. Coming down the stairs was the best. Their head hit every step, making a dadunk sound every time. It was great." He laughed, saying, "You are something else. Is that like finding the humor in a bad situation?" I nod, agreeing. I reply, "Humor gets me through a lot. It's my reminder that things could be worse. I don't like killing. I mean, I'm good at it. I should be. I trained to be an assassin every day from my 2nd birthday to my 16th. The past 5 years, I have trained in every discipline I could, but I don't kill. Unless I have to. When it comes down to him or me, I choose me every time." Aaron's Pav. I pull her into my arms, as crass as it sounds, with 2 men being incinerated. But it felt like the right time, letting her know she's no longer alone. She hugged me back, then says, "So, a wolf, huh? That's pretty darn cool. Me, an elf, mated to a wolf. That's pre-TTY darn cool." I laugh. One of those awkward moments, yeah, it will go away. Let's have a cup of coffee, and I will tell you my background. Sound good? We work seamlessly. I gathered cups and condiments. She set snacks on a tray. We got sat down, in the floor, across from each other at the coffee table. I held my hand out, palm up, and she laid hers into it. I started, "As you know, I am Aaron Steele, Alpha of Silver Steel Pack. We are the largest pack this side of the Mississippi. I am a rare wolf, the rarest of the rare. I am a white wolf. There are a few white she-wolves, but I am the only white male wolf. The only thing found about the male white wolf is they are only born when a great danger threatens our realm. The last white wolf was born in the time of the Blood Elves invasion over 200 years ago. The councilman tonight wanted to talk about the mirror portal. I am to go examine it in a day or so. I have been Alpha for nearly 2 years. My father succumbed to the pain of the loss of my mother shortly after I ascended. She died when I was 4. My father hung on for my sake. He fought to survive so that I wasn't an orphan." She looks at me with her huge, sad, bright blue eyes, squeezing my hand, and whispered, "I'm so sorry you lost her so young. How differently we grew up. My father killed my mother, and your father lived for yours. Is that what we will have?" I smile. Nodding, I tell her, "Most definitely. The year I was 5. My dad brought in a scraggly 11-year-old boy and said to my sister and me, 'This is Ernie. Some irresponsible rogue turned him. He's now my son. And your brother?' My sister lives with her mate in New England. We aren't close and seldom see each other. But Ernie is my brother, through and through." She smiles at that. "Ernie and Everly saved my life. Literally saved me. Ernie found me, half dead from 2 weeks in a cell with no food, licking walls for water, then beaten daily. While my father watched, I played dead for an entire day. My father told the guard to dump me in the outlands. So, I'm thinking, he thinks I'm dead, and he banished me before he locked me up. So nothing was holding me in Dullendirk. I found a broken piece of mirror in the outlands, probably from someone else who escaped. I opened a portal with it, and ended up here. Well, in this realm. Not exactly right here. I destroyed my portal completely. But I'm thinking my signature remained, and it was discovered I escaped. That's why the assassins keep popping up. I say, let's destroy another portal. Want to?"
Chapter 6. That is so sweet.
We talked into the wee hours of the morning, finally laying down together around 5. I had to laugh at him lying on my bed. He hung off in every direction. He chuckled and said, "Just snuggle with me. We will laugh tomorrow." I awoke to a knocking at my door. What in the world? I figured I was pretty safe, all things considered. Assassins seldom knock, right? Opening the door, Gavin and another guy stood there, grinning like possums eating poop. And I'm half awake, so cue grumpy cat. What the fuck are you doing here at the crack of dawn? Who's this? Come in, I'll make breakfast. Gavin laughs. This is Gamma Evan, and it's 9. Not the scrack. I brought Aaron some clothes. It's never cool when the alpha does the walk of shame. I sneer. First off, you know what Assume did. Made an ass out of you and me. Secondly, no way in hell am I calling this Yehu Gamma Evan. Thirdly, and last but not least, there is no shame in talking all night. By this time, fresh coffee is brewing, and I have sausage frying for gravy. Eggs were scrambled, ready for the skillet, and bacon on the griddle, and mixing biscuit dough. I tell Gavin, take the clothes upstairs. Second door on the right. If he's not awake, do not wake him. If he is, let him know there's towels in the cubby in the end suite. I cut the biscuits and popped them in the oven. I mixed pancakes up and started those while the gravy simmered. After 6 pancakes were done, I poured the eggs in the hot skillet. Then I pulled the biscuits out, tossing them in a bread basket, poured the gravy in a boat, and dished up the eggs in a bowl, plating the pancakes and bacon. By the time I had the table set and food on the table, Aaron was walking in and straight to me. He hugged me close, our bodies tingling from little shocks. He whispered, I woke this morning to the most beautiful scent of honeysuckle and vanilla. Now I know you are mine, for eternity. I smiled. You smell like leather and fresh coffee. We sat and plated our food. Aaron says, I see you've met Evan. And I grin. Oh yeah, sure. Gamma Evan and I go way back. Evan sputters, looking like a deer in headlights. No, we don't. I mean, I saw you last night, but I didn't talk. This is the first time I have talked. I don't go way anywhere, I cracked up. Aaron shrugs and chuckles. Yeah, he does that. Catch him off guard, and he stutters and rambles. And you, my love, caught him off guard. I just smile and respond. Well, now I know, Evan. You realize that I'm going to do that frequently. And he groans. Gavin had been busy eating. Thank goddess I made a lot. He asks Aaron. Councilman Jeffrey called twice this morning. Second time, he demanded you call him back at noon. Aaron scoots back a little, and in that deep voice, which I have realized it's his dominance exertion voice, he demanded I call him by noon. I will be in my office by noon, but I won't be calling him. Nobody demands shit from me. Then, in a sweet, calm voice, he asks me, Baby, will you move in with me? The full moon is a week from tomorrow, and I would like to hold your Luna ceremony. A holy crap on a cracker. I am a Luna. Who'da thunk it? He's watching me, and I know he's making fun of me processing, but it's how I deal. Okay, not sure of what else I should say. They all laughed, and Evan said, That's it? Just okay? I nod and smirk. Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen anyway, so okay. I call Ernie and Everly to come help me pack. I'm going to miss my house. But Aaron said we'll keep it for when we want an overnight getaway. I tell him when the assassins come again and find me gone, they'll probably destroy it. So he suggests he add the town to the patrol roster. Great. A whole bunch of patrol guards pissed at me for extending their route. We had my stuff packed in no time and loaded into Gavin's and Aaron's trucks. I let him know I needed to pick up my Jeep from the restaurant, and he said Evan can drive it. Artemis doesn't want me out of his sight. That is so sweet.
Chapter 7. We're off to see a portal. Aaron's POV.
She said, okay, just like that. In a week, just 1 week, and she will be mine forever. We have everything loaded up, and ready to leave. Gavin will drop Evan off for the jeep, then meet us at the pack house. I glance at her, taking her hand. I ask, "This is totally up to you, and I want you to know I respect your choices. Always. Have you considered Beck?" She interrupts, "I want to be a wolf. Artemis deserves his mate too, and I know it's a 50-50 crapshoot." I look at it this way. If I turn, I was always meant to be a wolf. And if I don't, the moon goddess has other plans. Can this girl get any more perfect? She wants Artemis to have his mate. He won't shut up now. But how sweet is that? I am over the moon and falling fast. Already halfway there, we arrive at the pack house, and I link the guards to release Amy and walk her to her parents' house. I plan on meeting with them this afternoon. Something is going to have to change. Amy is no longer the head cheerleader trying to prove she's better than everyone else. Evan walks in and hands Shaylin her keys, saying, "Holy shitload of weaponry, Luna. You handle all those." She nods, grinning adeptly and expertly. He asks her, all excited, "Can you teach me?" She laughs and nods. It's official. The gamma is fangirling. I summon the pack through the link to meet in the rear garden. As soon as everyone assembled, I took Shaylin's hand and walked to the dais. I called attention and I announced, "I have found my mate. Our Luna is finally home. A week from tomorrow, we will host her ceremony. I expect everyone to attend." Then I turned to officially accept her. "I, Alpha Aaron Steele of Silver Steel Pack, accept you, Princess Shaylin Greenleaf, as my mate, now and forever." She smiles at me and repeats, "I, Princess Shaylin Greenleaf, accept you, Alpha Aaron Steele of Silver Steel Pack, as my mate, now and forever." The pack cheers and I dismiss them. We were in my office at noon. Evan was showing Shaylin our training program, and she was suggesting ways to incorporate some of her skills into the everyday routine. She works out every day, and we are going to see her spar this afternoon. I can't wait. Gavin and I are going over requisition forms and transfer files. At 1:15 the hour, the phone rang. I hit speaker and said hello. Jeffrey growls, "I left word you were to call me at noon. The disrespect you display needs addressed." I slowly count to 10 in my head. "I do not answer to you, Jeffrey. You have no right to demand anything of me. My disrespect stems from being disrespected. If it continues, I will withdraw my support from the council." He growls louder, "Your father and your grandfather supported the council their entire lives. You dare besmirch their legacy by threatening to withdraw your support? Have you no shame?" Shaylin climbs into my lap, calming me down instantly. As I respond, "No, actually, no shame at all. My grandfather supported the council at its inception. When men had integrity, my father supported a council that still had a modicum of honesty. The council I have inherited is one of avarice and greed, changing rules to suit their agendas, demanding things of alphas that owe them nothing. My patience has worn very thin, Jeffrey. What is the purpose of your call?" He's quieter now when he replies, "I need the girl's information for my suit, and the council is wondering when you want to see the portal. We have a witch on standby to identify the degree of magic." I sigh, responding, "You don't need the girl's information. Get over the suit already. I want the coordinates and I will check it out. I won't need the witch's services. They always come with a price. I have my own expert in elven magic." Before he can ask anything further, I hang up. Shay asks when we would have the coordinates and Gavin says, "Now, email from Jeffrey just popped up. So, we can head out whenever you'd like." She jumps up, says, "Let's go have us a look." And we're off to see a portal.
Chapter 8 How Calm You Are.
I hop up into Aaron's truck, with Gavin and Evan in the back. I had geared up with my katana, several throwing knives, and my twin poniard. They were made for me by the only other elf I have met in this realm. Finest elven steel. They hold the same edge, never needing sharpened, to pass the time. Evan and I chatted back and forth. I found out he's an only child and lived at the pack house since he turned 15. He asked about elven rules. I said, light elves live by 3 rules. First rule, treat every day like Christmas, because every day is a gift. Second rule, there's room for everyone on the nice list. They just have to want to be there. Third rule, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is to sing it loud and clear. Because the best way helps someone who's lost their smile is to give them one of your own. Evan asks, do all light elves live by these rules? She looks sad for a moment. Then she smiles, I do. And that's what matters most. I can only be responsible for how I am. It's like happiness. Being with someone makes you happy, not because of the person, but because our happiness comes from within ourselves. It's no one's job but my own to find what makes me happy. I take her hand and kiss her knuckles. She really is something, and she's right. I am happy just being around her, and that's my happiness. I haven't even kissed her yet. I want it to be special. Arriving at the coordinates, we exit the truck. They're all looking around, and I giggle. You won't see it until I remove the glamour. I moved to the portal and waved my hands. Right before us stood a 5-foot mirror portal. I look at Aaron. They will know the glamour has been tampered with. It is indeed from Dullendirk, and my father's magic is showing a trace, so he probably provided the mirror. But the magic that is the portal itself is that of a dark elf. Aaron looks at it a long time. He sighs. It looks just like a regular mirror in a lady's dressing room. How does it work? And what should we do about it? I laugh and tell him to watch. I touch my fingers to the glass, and they melt into it. I say, only a highborn elf can do that. So that tells me that either my father or one of my brothers are letting the assassins through, and I am going to destroy it. It will be a couple weeks before they can set another, and I will fix it so it can't be set here. Time to set some wards. I pull the heat from the afternoon sun. Wrapping my hands around it, I formed a ball, rolling it around. This ball of solar energy, compacting it, hardening it. I flung my hands towards the mirror. It melted upon impact, leaving no trace of it at all. Aaron grinned, easy peasy for my amazing mate, gone without a trace. I sheepishly said, well, a little trace. When my fingertips brushed the portal, my brother Tremaine was on the other side. Not that it matters. They already know where I am. But I shot a little solar flare in his direction. It will, most likely, piss him off. Their magic together can't match mine. My father knows I am stronger than even him. If he succeeds in putting Galber on the throne, it would be high treason. Lord Corlin would have to intervene. It is my mother's bloodline that carries royal blood, not Callan's. They all stand there, staring at me, mouths gaping. I asked, what, already? Gavin shakes his head. You just say you're the rightful monarch, the queen, and like it's nothing. I realize that's exactly what it means. Nothing. I say it out loud. That's exactly what it is. Nothing. If it ever came down to actually taking the throne, I would abdicate to one of my cousins. I have 5, and they're welcome to it. I don't want it. I'm going to be a wolf. Evan whoops really loud and lifts me and spins me in a circle. For real? You're going to turn? That is so cool. I've never witnessed a turning. Aaron laughs. Yeah, never would have guessed that. What with how calm you are.
Chapter 9. Aaron walked in.
We made it back to the territory, and I got in a couple hours training. I sparred mostly with Evan, since he is the one who will be setting the schedule and practicing moves with me. By the time I showered and dressed, Aaron came in to escort me to dinner. Such a gentleman. We walked down the 3 flights of stairs, only to run into Amy. Yippee, she sneers. It isn't enough you had Ernie fire me. Now you go after my man? Yeah, she's delusional. I tell her, I didn't have Ernie do shit. I manage that restaurant. I do the hiring and firing. You had that job because I hired you, and now you are fired for conduct unbecoming of an employee of Ernesto's. I am not going after Aaron, as you put it. Aaron is my mate, thereby implying I already have him, which makes me your Luna. Disrespect me again. I dare you. She smirks naughtily and tries to run her hand up Aaron's arm. Tries. I snatched her wrist, holding tightly. She says, well, I was in his bed first. We fuked one time. I snapped her wrist and said, must have really sucked, if it was only the once. Might want to head to the clinic. That's going to need a cast. I walked into the dining room, with Aaron taking long strides to catch up. He says, I'm sorry. I should have told you. Honestly, it was the furthest thing from my mind after realizing you are my mate. Nothing else mattered. I turn and look at him. If that bitch, or any other bitch has been in that bed with you, it will burn before I sleep on it. He assures me no one has. That his one time with Amy was in high school, and there has been no one else since he took over as alpha. So, okay, I am already past it. But it was cute watching him squirm. I ask him, how old are you? He laughs and says, random. But okay, I'm 23 in 7 days. I gasp and say, your birthday and a Luna ceremony. Okay, just awesome. 2 parties in one. Oh, I'm so excited. He asks me how old I am, and I tell him 21. He wanted to know my birthday, and I told him. 3 days ago. The 5th anniversary of my banishment, I told him. I don't celebrate my birthday anymore. I celebrate my freedom, same day. Just one has more meaning. He hugged me tight to him. I notice he does that when he doesn't know what to say. Or maybe I just look like I could use a hug. The next morning, I let Aaron know it's my early day at the restaurant, and I was there until 8 tonight. He said that's fine, but he will take me and pick me up, saying he had errands in town, and he wanted to check my house. I get ready for work and come back downstairs. I have on a white fitted blouse with cap sleeves and black dress slacks. My hair is braided down my back. Aaron grins when he sees me. Damn, you even make conservative look sexy. My insides clench in arousal, and he groans, you're killing me. I bite the insides of my cheek before I say, it's your fault. I didn't even know my body would do that. And he just grins like he topped Mount Everest. Walking into the restaurant, I head to the office, asking Ernie how many applications did we get for a new server. He tells me 5 and hands them over. I called 3 of them and scheduled interviews. For right now, we are short-handed, so after I prep tonight's special, I will be front of the house, working with Mandy. I enjoy working with Mandy. She's fun to be around. A little sensitive, but still adorable. I was just finishing my prep for chicken cordon bleu when I heard the door ding, and I smelled it. That distinct earthy petrichor smell partial to male elves. Mandy goes out to seat whoever it is, and I stop her. I'll take this one. Ernie, notify Aaron to get here now. I walk out front and spot them. A dark and a light. Odd, seeing them together. Checking for my poignard and feeling all of them, I relax a bit. Gentlemen, how can we help you today? Table for 2? Right this way, leaving them with no option but to follow. I seat them and ask what they'd like to drink. Taking the order, I walk to the bar and mix their wine spritzers. Grown-ass men drinking spritzers. I delivered the drinks, and the light elf says, it's time to come home, princess. I laughed and said, I am home, and I certainly wouldn't return to a place where I had to fight for my life every day. nor would I travel with someone who consorts with darkness. I turned to walk away, and he grabbed my arm. Big mistake. I spun out of it, grabbing his arm with my free one and twisted around until his arm was behind his back. I held him in that position, squeezing a pressure point, while I threw my dagger at the dark elf, pinning him to the chair. It was at that point Aaron walked in.
Chapter 10. Now we wait. Aaron's POV.
I had just gotten to the bank when my phone rang. Seeing it was Ernie, I immediately answered. He let me know there were elves in the restaurant, and I grabbed Gavin and Evan and ran the 2 blocks over. Just as I walked in the door, my mate yanked one man's arm behind him, twisting him into a bend while throwing her dagger into the other man's shoulder, pinning him to the chair. I walked up to her and grinned. I thought I was being called because you needed help. My love, she laughed and replied, yeah, I kind of do. That idiot is about to pull that poignard from his shoulder, which means the barbs will activate and rip his muscle to shreds. So, if you take this one, I can help that one, Gavin asks. And we care if he rips his arm off, why? I mean, assassins are like kamikaze pilots. They know what they sign on for. Shaking her head. I want to get some answers before I kill them. I doubt the dark elf will give much of anything up, but the light elf may still have a conscience. I look at the guy in my grip. His hair was a light blonde. He had light green eyes, but the pupil had begun to ring in red. Baby, why are his pupils turning red? She stepped up, grabbed his chin, and looked into his eyes. Then she slapped him. Succumbing to the dark arts? You should be ashamed. Is this what Dullendirk is becoming? Take them to the cells. I will finish prepping the dinner specials and be ready to head home. Time to chat. We handcuffed them, leaving her knife in the one guy's shoulder. Shaylin said it gives him something to think about. I think she just wants him to know he will bleed to death if he removes it himself. Getting them back to the cell Shaylin had warded to prevent elves from using magic, we chained them side by side. I told them, you two were truly inept. Attacking in a public place, in daylight, seems like elf assassins kind of suck at their jobs. By the time I arrived back at the restaurant, it had gotten busy. Today's special seems to be the crowd favorite. Shaylin was behind the bar, so I decided to enjoy a drink while watching her work. She worked efficiently. No wasted moves. She is sheer poetry in motion, graceful and aloof. I am so proud of who she is. How difficult it must have been for her to overcome what her family did. I leaned over the bar and motioned for her to come closer. When she did, I kissed her, for all I was worth, then whispered, I love you. Her smile lit up the room, and she said, as first kisses go, that one was a definite chart topper. I love you. Thank you for making it special, I smirked. I think I can do better. What say we practice later? She blushed bright red. Shaking her head, she walked away giggling. The drive home was quiet. She seemed to be in her head. I asked her, you okay, my love? You're awfully quiet. She reached over and pulled my hand into her lap. Wrapping both hers around it, she sighed. What kind of man do you have to be to order the death of your only daughter? To kill your own mate? I want to be the one to kill him. But I can't. My blood won't allow it. It's frustrating as hell. Would you mind if I send a message for Tremaine to contact me? He's the only one I was even remotely close to, and I really want some of my things. I asked her if it entailed her going to Dullendirk, but she shook her head. I don't know why you would ask if I minded. I support you, babe. In whatever you do, I would prefer to be there when you talk to him, though. Arriving home, we went straight to our room. She points to the bed, and I sit against the headboard while she climbs up beside me with a handheld mirror. She whispered, watch, and she laid her palm on the glass. Within seconds, we were looking at Dullendirk. It was bustling with energy as she searched through the sea of faces, looking for her brother. Giving up, she took us inside the castle. I noticed a figure walking down a corridor, and she turned the mirror face down. I don't want to be caught. The shimmer in the air will alert an elf to surveillance, so I hide the face of the glass. Picking it up again, she follows the hallway until she reaches a room. Tremaine's room. I'm just going to leave a note. She got up and walked to the desk, writing on a piece of paper, "The tree, 9 a.m. S." Folding the note, she picked up the mirror and pushed her tiny hand through and laid the note on his nightstand. I smiled and asked, "Now what?" She says, "I want to see when he picks up the note." So, now we wait.
Chapter 11, Tremaine.
It was about an hour later when Tremaine walked into his room. We watched as he scented the air. I knew he could smell me. His eyes combed the area and landed on the note. Picking it up, he smelled it first. Then he read it, raised his head and nodded, before incinerating the note in his hand. Aaron asked, "The nod? He agreed to meet?" I smiled and said, "Oh, I'm not meeting him. Only my reflection will. Not trusting him enough to get hands on me." He breathed a sigh of relief. As we sat down to dinner, Aaron asked how old my brothers are. I sat a moment, mentally calculating. Galber is 19, nearly 20. Tremaine just turned 17. Father wasted no time in mating Hildy after mother's death. I wasn't quite 2 when Galber was born. I was excited about a baby brother, but I was never allowed near him. So that was the second dream shot in the ass. The first one being my stepmother would love me when Tremaine came along. They weren't as stringent with his care. I would sneak into the nursery and play with him for hours. Evan mutters, "I don't like your family. Can I have the dark elf to play with?" I would love making him squeal. I look at Aaron, who shrugs. Yeah, Evan likes to torture anyone who hurts someone he cares about, and he's perceived that elf as such a person. I begged off speaking to the elves tonight. I was tired and needed to be alert for morning. Aaron joined me, and we snuggled into bed, just talking about things. The strength and power Artemis holds sounds amazing. We discussed everything elves can do, and why my power surpasses that of my father and brothers. He believes my power comes from my mother. I asked, "Do you think my mother had time to infuse her power into me before she died?" That would make sense. Maybe there will be something in her journals that will shed some light on it. I don't know if there are many chronicles on elves in this realm. Remind me to look into that. He murmurs quietly that he will, just before he dozed off. Morning had me awake and ready to talk to Tremaine. Aaron stepped out of the bathroom and wrapped me tightly in his arms. Leaning down, he kissed me. This time, my excitement shot through the roof. He bent and lifted me. Wrapping my legs around his waist, he backwalked me to the wall, never once breaking the kiss. He ground into me core, and I could feel his entire length. Breaking the kiss and leaving me breathless, he whispers, 4 days, 4 more days, and I won't stop. I love you, Shaylin. Nothing in this world will stop me from claiming you." It took several minutes for me to clear my foggy brain. "I love you. I can't wait to make love with you." Quick question, though. I felt how, well endowed you are. Are you sure it will fit? And he busted out laughing. "Glad I am your source of amusement this morning, buddy." Asking that was embarrassing enough. He whispers, "We were made for each other. We will fit perfectly." "Uh-huh," says you. Realizing the time, I grabbed the mirror and we made our way to the office. I perched myself on Aaron's lap and summoned the portal. I looked around the tree, then further into the distance. There was no sign of Tremaine. I was crushed. I had hoped he would, or at least not hate me. Aaron whispered, "Give it a little time. Maybe he's held up. And I circled the area again. Disappointed, I reached to close the portal when we heard, "Wait." Tremaine stood in front of the tree. I whispered, "I wasn't sure you'd come." He grinned, "Of course. Ran into a problem. I'm sorry I am late. You look well. I was so worried. The last 6 months. After the assassins got a hit on your location, I have been on pins and needles. Went so far as changing coordinates on the portal, just so it would take them longer to find you." I responded, "I destroyed their portal. How long before another is set?" He shrugs, thinking, "Probably at least a week. I went to your room last night and gathered some things you might want." He knows me so well. I said, "Will I need a larger mirror portal, you think?" He laughs. "Yes, sister. A bureau should work. You work on that and meet me in my room in, say, 15? I nod and close the handheld. Aaron asks, "Do we trust him?" Shaking my head, I respond, "Not completely. But he's all I have at the moment. Maybe we should ask some pertinent questions as to my father's actions. Whether they are planning an invasion of sorts, I don't know. Rattle his cage and see what falls out." I opened the mirror portal on the dresser in our room. Tremaine was already standing on the other side. I introduced Aaron to him, and Tremaine looked thoughtful. "I discovered something about your mom. I packed it with her journals. The duffel has those, as well as a few chronicles on blood and dark elves, as well as the Great War a couple centuries back. There are a few things you will both find interesting. Also, Shaylin. Father's eyes are nearly completely red now, and he has been performing blood magic. It is how he located you. Please be careful. Many elves are talking rebellion. Light elves only number about 3,000 now. We are going to need allies if we are to survive. Lord Corlin is doing everything he can, but our situation is quickly becoming dire. How do I reach you?" Aaron replies, "We will send a note. A portal on my territory will be destroyed before it can be utilized." Tremaine nods, "Okay, but will you meet me at the tree in 2 days? After you have read the information I sent you?" Aaron agrees, and we receive the duffel bag, immediately closing the mirror.
Chapter 12. We Need Proof. Aaron's POV.
Shay sat, unpacking the duffel bag. Tremaine had sent a lot of journals, several Elven chronicles. She looked up at me and said, "He sent all my mom's jewelry and her journals. He packed my ceremonial dresses. I doubt they'd even fit now. After we interrogate the elves, I will go through everything. Here's the journal he said had information we might find useful. And my crown and tiaras, that's crazy." She took my hand as we walked out, heading to the cells. Evan and Gavin met up with us on the front porch. All four of us walked in, and the guards stepped up to the cell door. Looking at the light elf, I ask for his name. He just glares. Then I asked the dark elf. He spat at me. Looking over at Evan, I said, "The hard way?" He grins great big and says, "With pleasure. You boys are about to make my day, and you don't even know how." He walked into the cell and punched the light elf in the face. The guy spit out a tooth and sneers, "That the best you got." Evan just grins and lays into the next punch, knocking the guy out. He looks so disheartened it's funny. Evan looks at the dark elf and says, "Just don't make 'em like they used to. Am I right?" and punches the other guy. The dark elf yells, "They call me Demeter." Gavin cracks up, like, "Tomater? Oh my goddess, who the fuck calls you that?" The guy says, "Everyone calls me that. It's my name. That guy is Etern, and he's a prick." I study him for a minute. "You seem more in control. Why is that? Experience with your kind usually ends in war. Is that where we're heading?" Demeter shrugs and replies, "Corlin in trying to stem the Bloods and the Darks from seeking a portal to this realm. The Blood Elves are dying. The blood magic has diluted so dramatically since the last Great War. When the realm was sealed, they had no diversity. They still practiced blood magic, but they only had other elves to siphon from. It made them weak. I am such a product. My eyes changed from blue and my hair is now coal black. My parents refuse to acknowledge me. I can't walk openly in the streets of Dullendirk because of this. They bled me for months. Tried everything to turn my heart dark. They may have changed my appearance, but my soul is intact. And someday, I will find a way to become light again. This was all well and good, but he completely circumvented my question. I repeat, are we heading for a war? He mutters. If the Blood King succeeds. Yes, I join the assassins to get out of the realm. So many have not returned, they are presumed dead. And I honestly didn't care if I died. My mind was already made up. I will not return to our realm. Shaylin steps into the light and says, "You didn't try to attack me, but I didn't really give you a chance to." Why was Edern adamant? What are you offered for my head? He shrugs and almost smiles. We get to live. The assassins who made it back to Dullendirk were executed for failing. The ones who didn't, we just figured they were already dead. Shay laughs and says, I have only killed 9. Well, this year so far. I killed 3 the year before that. So, 12. How many have been sent? Again, he pauses before he answers, as if gauging how much to divulge or how truth might benefit him. It's making me suspicious. I tell him, I will find out the truth. So, if you're completely honest now, we may help you later. We watch him practically deflate. He sounds frustrated when he responds, there have probably been at least 50 sent out. So many that only 4 remain in the realm. King Callan has executed probably 30. They have been coming to search for you, nearly 2 years now. Shaylin nods. That makes sense. I just don't understand how Lord Corlin doesn't realize they are moving between realms. The 3 elf kingdoms shouldn't be able to hide a portal with that much traffic. The glitches in the space-time continuum alone should alert him. It's how the portal was found from this side. Demeter asked, You found it? Did you destroy it? His face looked actually hopeful, at my nod. His whole body slumped in relief. I don't have to go back. Shaylin smiles at him. It's only a temporary reprieve. They will set another one. He's shaking his head. No. It took King Callan nearly 8 months to find a proper mirror for the first one. And if Corlin finds out he's looking for another one again, he may strip his title. I snarl. He may. That's not good enough. We need the council on this, and probably the king. He should be able to contact Corlin. Shay soothes me by rubbing my arm, saying, Let's get through our ceremony, then we can start researching. It's best if we have all available information at hand. She's right. Hopefully, the journals will help us. Going to the king with an idea about the blood elves will not set well. We need proof.
Chapter 13. All along he plotted it.
I have started on the journals. I have never seen some of them. There are journals from when my mom was a girl, and she was a happy kid. Then I read something that shocked me to the core. My mother was a hybrid. Her father was the alpha of Starry Moon Pack in Wyoming. She was born and raised in this realm. I ran for Aaron's office. Barge right in like I own the place. I yell, my mom was a hybrid. She had a wolf. Her father was Starry Moon's alpha. He sat there looking as stunned as I feel. He says, that means she was raised here, on Earth. I believe the old alpha is still alive. His ascended about 10 years ago. We can call them if you'd like. Gavin, are we still allies with Starry Moon? I know Dad was. Can't remember if we renewed. I climb into his lap, reading the journal. Every time I came to a new memory, I excitedly told Aaron. My grandmother was a princess of Dullendirk. Her older sister was to take the throne, and my mom has a brother. He was 10 years younger than her. His name is Andrew. Aaron nods, smiling at me. That's the alpha's name now, so it's safe to assume he is your uncle. Let's call first, before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Gavin comes in and lets us know that Silver Steel and Starry Moon are indeed allies. Aaron checks the file and punches in the number, making sure the speaker is engaged. It was answered on the second ring by a woman identifying as the beta female. Aaron asks, "Is Alpha Andrew available to speak with me? It is of utmost urgency." She tells him Andrew is picking his parents up from the airport and wouldn't be home for a couple hours. Aaron then asks for his cell phone number. He hung up and immediately dialed the cell. Andrew answered immediately, "Was just reading a text that you have an urgent matter to discuss?" Aaron replied, "I do. Are your parents with you?" Andrew answered they were. Aaron asks him to be put on speaker. The says, "Who is Arwen Greenleaf to you?" The silence was deafening, until Andrew's voice said, "I apologize. It has been 21 years since we have heard her name spoken. She was my sister. She and her child died in childbirth 21 years ago." I gasp and say, "I didn't die. Why would Callan say I died when I didn't die?" Aaron chuckles. My turn to apologize. My mate is a little excited. Her name is Shaylin Greenleaf, and her parents are Callan and Arwen Greenleaf of Dullendirk Kingdom in Elfheim Realm. It's a complicated story that deserves to be heard. Right now, we are staying close to home. There is some danger to Shaylin, and I won't risk a road trip at this time. Andrew doesn't hesitate. I have already turned my car south. You're on the Colorado-Iming border, correct? As Aaron said yes, Andrew says to give them 2 hours. I feel tears fill my eyes. I snuggle into Aaron and whisper, "I have a family." He kissed the top of my head and tells me what he knows. He said, "They are good people, a strong pack wealthy. Alpha Bernard was an investor and made a killing in the stock market. Andrew works even though he doesn't need to. They are going to adore you, so stop fidgeting." I read how my mother had gone with her mother to the coronation of my mom's aunt. There she met her mate, Callan Greenleaf, a highborn light elf with a promising future as head warrior. They were mated and marked within that first week, and she was pregnant with me before the 3rd month. In her 4th month of pregnancy, her aunt, the queen, died mysteriously, making my grandmother next in line, and she abdicated the throne to Arwen, and my mother named Callan as king. Now, I am wondering, had that been Callan's plan all along? I run it by Aaron. Then I ask, what if he had something to do with the queen's death? Knowing my grandmother didn't want the throne, it would naturally fall to my mother to be queen? Is he that corrupt? Aaron looks at me sadly. There's a good possibility he did. He murdered your mother. Killing your aunt would have been a piece of cake. I wouldn't put anything past him. He killed Ho's own mate and sent assassins to kill his daughter. The guy is a piece of shit. I agree. That would mean he had planned this from about the time he realized my mom was his mate. Not even 7 months into their relationship. My aunt is dead. My mother is queen, and Callan crowned king. 2 weeks after the coronation, I am born, and she is dead. He planned on being king. All along, he plotted it.
Chapter 14. Yeah. Postpone. Damn. Aaron's POV.
We're waiting on the front steps. Andrew called 5 minutes past, so they will be here any time now. Shaylin is bouncing in excitement. It's adorable to watch her. Her face is lit up. She can't stop smiling. When she saw the headlights, I told Gavin we might need to anchor her to the steps. The car pulled up, and barely in park when Andrew flew out from behind the wheel. running straight to Shay. He grabbed her up and swung her in a circle. With tears in his eyes, he says, "You look exactly like her. You look just like Arwen." He set her down and stood with his arm around her as he turned to face the elderly couple coming up the walk. They both got teary-eyed, and the woman stepped forward. "You are identical to our Arwen. You are so beautiful. We are your grandparents. I am Nimue Nimue, and this is Malcolm Branson. Your mom was our firstborn, our princess. We last saw her at her coronation. 3 weeks later, we received an informal letter from King Callan, informing us of your deaths." Shaylin stepped up to them and hugged them both. Malcolm and Nimue held tightly to her as they all cried, with Andrew wrapping his arms around all three. Gavin and I both choked up, but neither of us mentioned it. Plausible deniability is a good thing to have. We all went to the meeting hall. I wanted them to have a chance to get to know each other. Once seated, Shaylin wasted no time. "I want to know just everything. My mom was pregnant with me the last time you saw her. She had a wolf. Where's my wolf? Why were you told I died too? Callan is a dick." Malcolm laughs. "Oh, you are definitely Arwen's daughter. She did the same thing." Rattle off 20 questions without taking a breath. "Let's start with you. Tell us everything about your life. We have missed everything." So, Shaylin told them everything. She amazes me. When she talks about her time in the cells, she always just says what happened, matter-of-factly. I asked her how she kept calm in the retelling. She simply said it's a memory, and only you determine how you react to it. She chooses to be analytical and uses it to fuel her. She finished with, "And my Luna ceremony is in 2 days, and Aaron's birthday." Nimue says, "Your mom was our pride and joy. She always saw the best in people, and in situations. We had our reservations about Callan. He seemed shady, but Arwen was determined that he would be a good mate. He wasn't. He isolated her. We couldn't see her, using her pregnancy as an excuse. I asked her if the pregnancy was giving her problems, and she said absolutely not. That you were an easy baby, and she didn't even get morning sickness. That definitely threw red flags our direction about Callan." Malcolm then says, "We didn't think Arwen would shift. We didn't know anything about mixed species. She showed elf from birth. She was always so powerful, the elements being her favorite medium to work with. Her wolf, Esterlin, came after she mated. Coralyn once told me that hybrid elves meet their other half at the age of 25, having learned that with a vampire hybrid. With Arwen meeting Esterlin early, it became obvious being marked will bring forth the shift. Your mother and I are writing a book about elven hybrids. Now, you can help us complete our research." I asked, "Will you please stay for Shaylin's Luna ceremony? I am sure you'd like to be here for her first shift with missing Arwen's." Nimue began to cry, and Shay hugged her, pulling her sadness away. Nimue gasped and whispered, "I feel her. I can feel Arwen. She transferred her powers to you. You carry her spirit." Shaylin smiled. "I was going to ask you about that. I am a stronger elf than anyone in the realm, including my father and brothers." Malcolm shook his head. "Sweet girl, you would be more powerful than they are anyway. You are royal blood, and they are not. But even I can feel how powerful your aura is. So I believe your grandmother when she says she feels Arwen. Also, remember your wolf? She will be an alpha. So there's strength in that as well." Malcolm then looked at me. "It would be my honor and privilege to be here when Shaylin shifts. A momentous occasion in our lives. You also should renew your alliance with Andrew and our pack. Storms are brewing. We're going to need each other." I agreed, and I sat talking about it while Gavin went to get the forms we would need to sign. Andrew asked, "How would you feel about starting a warrior exchange program?" It would benefit both our packs to incorporate different fighting styles. I told him I had been offering something similar for years. Gammas and betas from other packs come for a 2-month program. We train them in our technique. But we also have classes they attend to learn the ins and outs of their ranks. There aren't any here at the moment because I postponed courses. Shay and Evan are working up new training schedules because her training is phenomenal. She is proficient in all weaponry and in 5 separate fighting disciplines. Callan trained her to be an assassin from the age of 2. Andrew grinned and asked, "Little niece, shall we spar in the morning?" She nodded happily. "I am usually in the gym by 5. But I can postpone an hour if it's too early." He groaned and said, "Yeah, postpone. Damn."
Chapter 15. I have questions.
Andrew contacted his pack, and his mate and my 2 cousins are coming with the betas for my Luna ceremony. I am so happy. I went from no family to a large one. Andrew's pups are young, 6 and 9. The boy is called Mac, his name in McCallum. The 6-year-old is Penelope. We all called it a night, with Andrew complaining about getting up early, but Grandpa told him to shut up. He was the one who asked to spar. That's true. But I will never pass up a chance to spar someone new. I love learning new techniques. Aaron lifted me into bed and laid beside me. When he kissed me, my whole body melted into his. I want him so bad. He feels it too. Our makeout sessions make it even more difficult to hold back. The fact that I am a VR djinn, I think, helps him. He wants my first time to be perfect. It will be. How can it not? I fell asleep to a myriad of naughty fantasies running through my head. The next morning, I was up and showered by 4. I was giving the kitchen staff a break, so I started breakfast. I missed cooking. Ernie and Everly had me off schedule for the next 2 weeks because they wanted me to settle into pack life. It's been a definite adjustment. After breakfast was done, Andrew and I headed to the gym. I was wrapping my hands when Andrew asked, "Why would Callan train you as an assassin? You are the heir to the throne." I giggled and shrugging said, "Callan is passing the crown to his son Galper. I don't want to be queen, Uncle Andrew." Every one of the light elves in that castle knew what was happening, what was being done to me. Not one tried to help. Not an extra glass of water or slice of bread. Nothing. Why would I choose to rule such an ungrateful species? All elves are born of light and darkness. We choose to follow the light, or we succumb to the darkness. I wake every day and choose my light. I saw nothing of the sort in Dullendirk. We sparred for 2 hours. Andrew is very skilled. He pinned me twice. I pinned him 4 more than that. He grinned on the last pin and said, "I can say uncle, and mean it now." I laughed and helped him to his feet. We went in to shower because he is expecting his family within the hour. I found Aaron in the library. "What are you doing in here?" I startled him, and he dropped the book he had been reading. He smiled and kissed me. "Nimue told me we should have this book in our library, and I came looking for it. This is it. Elven Chronicles. I didn't know it was here. Which is stupid of me, since I have read all the chronicles of other species." I looked through the book and asked, "Do all packs have such extensive libraries?" Shaking his head, he replied, "No, only the ones who have been around for centuries, like this one. And Starry Moon. There are another 4 as old as our pack, but they are scattered around the world." Taking my hand, we went to greet Andrew's family and his betas. His mate is lovely. She told me her name is Babette, but she prefers to be called Babs. And Penelope told me to please not shorten her name to Penny. It was only Penelope. Mac was quiet and a little shy, but he seemed happy his hair was almost the same color as mine. Kids are weird, Grandma, Babs, and I decided to check the final preparations for the ceremony. Then we were going over what we should wear. Babs held a plastic, zippered bag up and unzipped it. Grandma said, I had Babs bring my ceremonial robes and thought, if you'd like, you could pick something to wear. I smiled and clapped my hands. I had just planned on wearing my blue ceremonial dress. This is so much better. I have never had anyone. Until Ernie and Everly, I never understood family. Now I have grandparents and an aunt and uncle. I told Grandma and Babs all about Ernie and Everly, how they found me and took such good care of me. They're excited to meet them tomorrow. Aaron sent Gavin to ask if we would come to his office. So here we all sit. He says, I am calling the council to let them know I have met my mate and the ceremony is tomorrow night. They may or may not attend. I do have to let them know the portal was destroyed and that we know there will be more. The reason I asked you all here is, do we tell them what we suspect is happening? Without any proof, it seems presumptuous. I said, we have to meet Tremaine in an hour. Let's talk with him and see if he can shed some light on any new information. Then call the council. Grandpa agrees, then says, I want to speak with your brother as well. I have questions.
Chapter 16, I Cut the Call. Aaron's POV.
I had a wall mirror brought in for Shaylin. It's large enough for Tremaine to see who is talking to him, but not big enough for him to get through. She summoned the portal, and within seconds, Tremaine's face appeared. He says, I don't have long, Shay. Everything is falling apart. Father has lost all sense of right and is blaming you. He knows it was you who destroyed his portal. Corlin hasn't been seen. Some say he has holed up at Castle in the Hill and is waiting the outcome. Father told us another portal will be available by week's end. So 6 days. There is a force of 3,000 blood and dark elves readying to fight. Father is leading the dark elves. I have already refused to fight, and will probably be in the dungeons before all is said and done. Galber has agreed to lead the lights until Father returns victorious from Earth's realm. I ask, is the Blood King leading the Blood Elves then? At his nod, Malcolm asked, are they training hand to hand as well as weaponry? Again, Tremaine nods. Malcolm asks him a few more questions, while Shaylin asks me, can we bring Tremaine here? I don't trust him 100%, but we can post guards on him until this is over. I know those dungeons. Tremaine isn't as strong as he should be. I pull her to me and kiss her. Let's bring him here. She runs back to the portal and asks Tremaine, would you consider coming here? Stay here with us until the war ends. You will be safe and not in the dungeons. He looks at her with tears in his eyes. He whispers in a heartbeat, there is no portal though. She tells him, wait right there by the tree. When you see my shimmer, step into it. She ran out of the room while I stood staring at Tremaine. Nimue said, she went to find a larger mirror. I nod, knowing she's gone to our dressing room, to the floor-length mirror there. And soon enough, a shimmer appeared to Tremaine's right, and he stepped to it. A little hand shot out and yanked. Then no more Tremaine. Within minutes, Shay walked in with Tremaine behind her. He was tall. For an elf, closer to 6 feet. While most elves are happy reaching 5'8", introductions were made and Tremaine grinned at Shaylin. I see you found your family. That makes me so happy. When I read your mother was hybrid, I wanted you to have a family. Nimue asks, Hildegard is your mother? At his nod, she continues, I have a bone to pick with that woman. He grins and tells her she'll have to get in line. Our entire horde hates her guts. It's even worse since Father cut her tongue out. Her yelling at everyone now is just garbled nonsense that has the servants begging her to just write it down. I took a moment to get over the shock. Your father removed her tongue. His own mate? Tremaine laughed. She isn't his mate, as he is fond of reminding her. And yep, yanked it right out of her head because he was sick of her shrill, harpy static voice contaminating our hearing at all hours of the day and night. His words, not mine, just made it worse. It didn't shut her up. We just can't understand what she says now. I am getting a whole new understanding into the man who fathered my mate, and none of it good. I tell them I am calling the council and will make it a conference call. We all moved into the conference room so we would be comfortable, and I placed the call. Once all 5 men had joined the call, I told them everything. Then I said, "Gentlemen, I believe the king should be apprised of the situation. We are facing a war with 3,000 elves, half of whom want our blood. We need to be prepared." Jeffrey asks how I got my intel, and how can I be sure what I have been told is accurate? I sigh. Why does this man have to be a pain in the ass every time he opens his mouth? I explain, I have 5 elves on my territory as we speak, 3 light and 2 lights that have tampered with the dark. The 3 lights here with me now are all royalty. My mate is the future queen. My intel is above reproach. Mitchell asks, why were we not informed you had found your mate, and that she is the future queen of Dullendirk? That's pertinent information we should have had from the day of your meeting. I laughed and said, again, I do not answer to you. The night I met her, you were all there. Don't hold me accountable for what you didn't observe. I also informed you, you would be the last to know. Our ceremony is tomorrow night. You have been made aware of all we know. At this time, what you do with it is on you. As for my pack, and that of Starry Moon, we will be preparing for war. Have a good night. And I cut the call.
Chapter 17, Lights Out.
Today is the day. To say I am excited would be an understatement from hell. Aaron left with the guys this morning. Grandma wanted to speak with Demeter about helping him find his light again. Edern was still being stubborn, believing the elves will still conquer Earth. Yeah, that ain't happening. Everly and Babs are helping me prepare for tonight. Aaron's sister is going to be here. That's the only low point of today. He's not looking forward to seeing her. I guess she is somewhat of a snob. I laughed when he said, and by no means ever pronounce her name as Deborah, because apparently she's too good to have a commoner's name. She will tell you it's pronounced Deborah. Okay, she's weird. Got it. Grandma braided 4 thin braids in the front of my hair, pulled them away from my face, and clasping them in back with a comb. My makeup is lightly done. I am not an over-the-top kind of girl. I prefer natural to caked on. My hair is down, and naturally wavy. I step into the gown I had chosen. It was my grandma's wedding dress. Ironically, maybe we have started a new family tradition. It is a traditional elven ceremonial gown. Scooped neck, long sleeves align with slits up the front to the top of my thighs. A gold filigree chain sets my hips with floral accents on the tassels, hanging nearly to my knee. Grecian-style flat sandals complete the look. Everly comes out of our closet, holding my tiara. It's a simple design of gold, resembling intertwined vines and flowers. Stones of blue topaz and diamonds adorn the center of the flowers. It's my favorite, and appropriate for a Luna ceremony. I look good. I hope Aaron likes it. Grandma is garbed in a dress similar to mine, in an emerald green. All the edges are trimmed in golden rope. Her waist chain made of the same rope with 2 emeralds weighting it down. She looks stunning. Her silver hair is in a side braid, laced with flowers. I'm so glad she doesn't hide her ears. Everly is wearing a baby doll-styled cocktail-length dress in a light yellow. It is the perfect color for her auburn hair, which is in a low chignon on her neck. Little ringlets frame her face, and Babs is wearing a ruby-red mermaid-style gown. Sequins trail the sweetheart busty down the front to the flare of her tail. Her hair is loosely curled, almost in beaky waves. Everyone is so beautiful, and my excitement is building. Grandpa walks in, in a svelte black suit with an emerald silk tie. He grins at me and says, "I remember the dress. You wear it as beautifully as your grandmother did 45 years ago. I have come to beg. Would you allow me to walk you down the aisle to greet your mate?" And I melted. Tears fill my eyes, and all I can do is simply nod. A knock at my door brought Andrew, Ernie, and Tremaine into my room. Andrew hugged and kissed me, saying he came to claim his mate and his mother to get them seated. Then Ernie kissed me and took Everly away. Tremaine stepped forward and handed me a tightly woven braid of flowers he had formed into a bracelet. "In keeping with elf tradition, please accept this hand-woven token as my gift from Mother Earth. I love you, Shaylin. I have always loved you. You are my only family now, and I am grateful." I hugged him to me. "This is my little brother, the one I remember most." It's nice, the Greenleaf arrogance has skipped over him. He leaves to find his seat. Grandpa offers me his arm and smiles. "Shall we do this?" I nod and take his elbow. We open the door, just as Gavin had raised his hand to knock. "Oh, hi. I was sent by Deborah to tell you it's time," causing me to giggle. I walked out on Grandpa's arm, and all I want is to see Aaron. We walk behind the back row of guests and reach the center aisle. My eyes seek Aaron, and when I see him, my whole body comes to life. He is facing me, and his face lights up. Grandpa says, laughing, "I can turn you loose, and you can run." I whisper, "Shush, I'm excited." We make it down the aisle, and I didn't trip. Aaron takes my hand in his. He asks if I promise to love and protect the pack. Do I accept being the Luna of Silver Steel Pack? And I say, "I do solemnly swear." And he laid the blade of the ceremonial dagger against my palm, slicing it before doing the same to his. He clasped our hands together and raised them high. The pack bond snapped into place, and I hear a faint voice in my head, "Finally." Aaron turns me to face him. He smiles and whispers, "Artemis feels your wolf awakening." I gasped, then squealed, "I think she spoke to me." He grins, "I am going to mark you now, and I am not going to lie. It will hurt." I nod and brace myself. He moves my hair to my right shoulder and leans down. He kisses up and down my neck and shoulder on the left until I felt my knees grow weak. I mained, and as I did, he sank his canines deep into my muscle. Two things happened. My teeth grew, and I bit him. It was purely instinctual and apparently how it's done. We both pulled away and licked the wounds closed. Then it was lights out.
Chapter 18, All's Right with My World. Aaron's POV.
I sank my canines into her skin, and just as they seated, I felt hers pierce my skin. She marked me. I will bear the mark of my mate. I'm over the moon. We pulled back from each other, laving our wounds clean with our tongues. Then she passed out. I yelled for the doc, and her grandmother said, "She's fine. She doesn't need a doctor. Her wolf is rousing. She should waken in a half hour or so. Then she will shift." I asked her how she knows, and she said it happened to Arwen and is probably written about in a journal. I sat, laying Shaylin's head in my lap. Artemis says I can feel her. She's talking, but she is going through Shaylin's memories, so she's up to speed. It's why Shaylin passed out. I ask what's her name. She is her mother's wolf. It is Esterlin. Reborn on the night Arwen died, I gasped. I looked at Malcolm and Nimue to step closer, and they sat on the ground in front of me. And I told them, "Artemis has told me that Shaylin's wolf is reincarnated. She was born the night your daughter died. Arwen not only gave Shaylin her powers, she gave her wolf Esterlin." They broke down in tears. Malcolm asked, would it be all right if we allowed Marcus and Neve out to meet their pup when she shifts? I told him absolutely. They could, and they can shift as soon as she starts to shift. It will help Esterlin come forth quicker. Shaylin started wiggling, and saying she was hot. I unfastened the back of her dress. I dismissed everyone to go inside. It is a party. Once the garden was empty, we undressed her completely and let her lay on the cool ground. When we heard the first bone snap, we stripped and her grandparents shifted. I lay on the ground beside her, rubbing her back and talking her through it. Let your wolf guide the way, love. She knows what to do. She wants to meet her parents. Let Esterlin come forward. She can see them. Within minutes, where my petite elfin mate was lying, lay a huge silver wolf with eyes so blue they glowed. I immediately shifted and Artemis started licking her muzzle to rouse her. She stood, her legs wobbled a bit. She bussed his head, then turned to Marcus and Neve. I could tell they were mind-linking, so I took the time to admire my mate. She was big. I don't mean, oh, she's big for a she-wolf. I mean big. She stands just an inch or two beneath me. An alpha wolf through and through. She's stout, solid muscle, where my fur is pure white. Hers is pure silver. She literally gleams in the moonlight. Absolutely stunning. And she's all mine. I watch the three of them bounce and frolic, and it dawns on me. They weren't with Arwen when she shifted the first time. They are only meeting Esterlin just now. Wow, what must it feel like to meet your granddaughter's wolf, knowing her spirit is your daughter? Mind blown. I turn and check our surroundings, making sure all is well. I catch a glimpse of Andrew and Gavin. I link Gavin what Artemis told me, and to relay it to Andrew so he can come greet his sister. Within minutes, Andrew and Babs were stripping in the garden. They shifted into their wolves, and Asmo, his wolf, inched slowly toward Esterlin, recognizing her for the alpha she is. She spotted him and ran straight for him. My heart leaped in my throat, thinking she'd attacked, but she reached him and wrapped her neck around his. In a loving hug, she just held him for several minutes, like she knew he needed it. Or maybe she did. I watched them frolic and bounce around each other. I'm jealous, but not resentful. They have only just met, while I have her for eternity. This time, this first shift together, is about Shaylin. It should be with her family. My time is coming. I link Gavin to tell the pack to get ready to run. We still have to celebrate our Luna with a pack run. I walk over to Shaylin and her family. She licks my muzzle, and a sweet voice says, "How's about we howl and start this run?" I nodded, and we lifted our heads in song. Within seconds, the pack answered. We ran the pack lands for close to 2 hours. Esterlin was a giant puppy. She explored everything, sniffed everything, chased moths. So, 2 hours later, we are sitting down to eat. Shaylin is animated and can barely sit still. I can't remember being this ecstatic when I got Artemis. Because you're a dick. I shift into this magnificent white beast, and you were like, "Meh, there's my wolf." And I nearly choked on my drink. Tell me how you really feel, Art. Damn. We finally got to dance a while. Every time I would lead her to the floor, somebody stopped us to talk. Shaylin talks right back. She's already a good Luna. But damn it, can I have her for just 5 minutes right now? But we made it. She's in my arms, and she's smiling up at me. All's right in my world.
Chapter 19. We are unique.
We danced a few more songs and shared a drink with Grandma and Grandpa. It has been such a wonderful night. But now I want some alone time. I took Aaron's hand and tugged him to his feet. I said, "Good night, everybody." He scooped me into his arms and ran. He whispered, "Everyone is going to know what we are going to be doing with that little good night of yours." I giggled and told him, "Shuri, let's go with that." Because lifting me in your arms and running out of the room wasn't a clue. We barely made it to our room. He started kizing me, undoing my dress and still carrying me. A man of many talents. When he stood me on my feet, beside the bed. My dress fell to the floor. He gently laid me down, kissing me and running his hand up my thigh, hip, following the curve of my waist until he cupped my breast and squeezed, gently flicking the nipple with his thumb. He positioned himself above me. After making sure I was lubricated enough to stop some of the first-time pain, he whispered, "You are so beautiful. I love you." He kissed me deeply as he plunged through my hymen. I practically screamed into his mouth. He kept saying, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, baby." But it wasn't his fault. That privilege belongs to our Creator. We showered together, and he showed me the meaning of saving water, making love while we washed each other's bodies. He was insatiable, and I was voracious. I wanted to experience as much as I could. Once our bond completely kicked in, after our wolves shared their venom, which is a marking seldom done anymore, but Esterlin and Artemis wanted their marks to show as well, we fell into a deep sleep. I woke up before Aaron even stirred. Stretching, I was surprised to find I wasn't even sore. Going into the bathroom, I flipped the lights and let out a loud yelp. The front of my snow-white hair had black strips framing my face. Then I noticed my mark. It looked like a tattoo, covering my left shoulder and running down my upper arm to my elbow. Esterlin and Artemis stood proudly under a weeping willow tree, Artemis howling at the moon with Esterlin's head tucked into his neck. It was beautiful and startling. I ran into the room and over to Aaron. Shaking him, I kept saying, "Wake up, babe, wake up. Something's happened. We need answers." He groaned, rolling over. He grinned at me and asked, "You colored your hair? I like it. Gives you an edgy look." I smirked back, saying, "Yeah, come with me. I want to show you something." Leading him into the bathroom, I dropped my robe and turned us both to face the mirror. He yelled, "What the fuck?" Nodding at him, I replied, "Yep." His hair had a shock of white on the right side, the same color as my hair. Mine was the color of his, like side bangs almost. He examined the tattoos and whispered, "What does this even mean? I have never heard of anything like this." After we showered, we were walking out of the dressing room, and Grandma opened the door and walked in. She yelled, "You're awake," running into the hall, while Aaron and I looked at each other. The fuck was that? Shortly, she returned with Grandpa, Andrew, and Gavin. Andrew said, "You sure had us worried. The first day we thought, okay, rough night, so nobody disturbed you. The second day, when a housekeeper couldn't get you to answer the door, she told Gavin. He came to check on the two of you. When he couldn't rouse you, he came and got Dad and me. Yesterday, the tattoos appeared. Now today, the hair. Strange shit. But you're awake now. We are researching. Have come up empty so far." Aaron and I stood listening. Flabbergasted, he says, 3 days? No wonder I'm starving." And walked out the door, pulling me behind him. He's going to attack this with a full stomach. We sat down, filling our plates. When Aaron asks, "So, what do we know?" It obviously has to do with our wolves mating, I would think. Has anyone read the Elven Chronicles? I had started it, but the legends are worded strangely, and I couldn't follow it. Grandma tells us Tremaine and Evan have been in the library since yesterday morning. We haven't heard what they've found, if anything. I nodded and asked, "How did this happen? Has anything like this happened before, that anyone knows of?" Don't get me wrong. It's kinda cool. The tattoo is badass, and my hair looks like I'm a biker chick. Aaron laughs and says, "Yeah, and mine looks like I'm a punk rocker. Not a good look for an alpha. Do you think?" Everyone laughs and Grandpa says, "Nah, you look distinguished." It just gets curiouser and curiouser with the two of you. I look at Aaron and smile. I'm going to the library to help the guys. Whatever this is, it's significant. We need to figure it out. before Callan constructs his portal. I have a feeling it's something to do with that. I will be checking the history of the past wars between the realms. There may be something there. Something similar. Most assuredly, there has to be a record of something like this happening before. Aaron responded, I'm not sure I like the idea of history repeating itself. I prefer to think we are unique.
Chapter 20. You do you. Aaron's POV.
3 days? We just went to sleep and took a 3-day nap. It has to do with Esterlin and Artemis. Art, talk to me, bro. What is this mark? The mark is from my venom. The hair is from Esterlin. By exchanging venom, you are now part elf. You will be able to do a lot of what Shaylin does. Just a lesser scale. Better practice, dude. Wait, what? Has this ever happened before? Not exactly. Malcolm and Nimue were supposed to trade venom. She was supposed to be queen, but chose to abdicate to Arwen. I am still not seeing what you are sounding so obvious about. Can you explain it more? Not really. It has to do with the Great War that happened 2 centuries ago. That was completely unhelpful. I told Gavin what Artemis said, and Malcolm's head came up sharply. Nimue and I were supposed to trade venom. That was done away with last century. We didn't know. Apparently, our wolves didn't know either. I thought about it a minute and responded, apparently, I now share some elven gifts with Shay. I have no clue what that even means. Life would be much easier if we were all born with instruction manuals. Gavin laughs. We aren't furniture, bro. Andrew shrugged. I could have used a manual. It should cover all aspects. Childhood puberty, hormones, and please goddess. A whole chapter dedicated to negotiating mates. Sure would have read that chapter more than once. I laughed. Rough go with that. Malcolm shook his head and mumbled, You have no idea. Shaylin walks in with a huge book and a look on her face that makes my sphincter pinch. And the only thing running through my mind is, oh, this can't be good. Nothing good comes from a face with that expression. She slams the book down and says, We are part of a legend. That reads more like a prophecy. Apparently, we are going to fight a great battle, which we knew, and I was okay with that. But we have to force Corlin to step down as Lord of Alfheim. His turning a blind eye has corrupted the realm completely. The blood elves are dwindling. Their numbers depleted. The dark elves are bored because they have wreaked all the havoc they can in a closed-off realm. The light elves are giving up because they're tired of fighting for right. Our mission, should we decide to accept it, is to unite the 2 realms in harmony, establish commerce and trade, teach elves to live in harmony with other species like werewolves, vampires, and witches do here. We have to appoint new monarchs in Dullendirk if we do not take the throne ourselves. Then we have to find the new Corlin. He already exists. He is pure blood elf, but he can only be identified by a birthmark. Wait a minute, a birthmark? She storms back out. What just happened? Did something happen? Gavin asked. I sat there a second. I think she knows who has the birthmark. Maybe? I don't know. She's like Evan in that regard. It's about reading between the lines. Malcolm says, That's a lot to swallow. Right there. We're going to have to head home, Andrew. We need to arrange the warrior swaps and get some serious training under our belts. If we are going to war with the elves, it's not going to be a picnic. Dark elves are devious. Minutes later, Shaylin came back in, dragging a reluctant Tremaine behind her. Closing the door, she says, Drop your breeches. He looked aghast and said, What? No, why would I do that? She sighs and smirks. You have a birthmark on your left butt cheek, just below your hip. You've had it your whole life. I remembered it a bit ago. And before you ask, I used to change your diapers. I laughed at that. Yeah, admittedly. I was curious how you knew. Is it the same mark that's illustrated here? She comes over to sit in my lap and says, I think so. It looks familiar, but I could be mistaken. Please, Tremaine, show us your butt. He sighs like he is being so put upon, and it cracked me up. Poor kid, I asked. If Shay steps out, I could take a picture of your butt cheek, and she won't have to see you naked. Would that help? He eagerly nodded, and Shaylin stepped out. It took less than 2 minutes of him dropping his pants, bending over, and me taking a picture with my phone. Done deal. Gavin opened the door to find Shaylin talking to my sister, and it didn't look pleasant. Crap. I hear Deborah say, my brother always had strange tastes, but I must say, you are a surprise. Shaylin glances at the open door, catching my eyes on her. So you've said, along with several other things, all pertaining to my appearance. So, no, I shouldn't color my hair to make it all one color. And no, I shouldn't consult a surgeon about having me ears fixed. They work fine. I hear very well. And I am fond of the tips. Also, no, I don't need any tips or lessons from you on how to be a proper Luna. I am perfectly capable of taking care of our pack. And should I actually need any tips of any kind, my grandmother and my aunt will guide me. Now, excuse me, we are in the middle of an important meeting. Deborah interrupts and tells her, I will speak to my brother. You think to keep him from me? 3 days, you kept him closed in a room with you. Never once thinking other people needed him. That's how you take care of his pack? Making him shirk his duty? Shaylin looks at me and links, you want to take this? I replied out loud, nope. You have a handle on it, baby. You do you.
Chapter 21, Shadow Ninjas.
Seriously, we have so many things to get through today, and this bitch. I look at Deborah and tell her, we were unconscious for 3 days. Not that that's any of your business. Our pack was looked after, very well, by our extremely competent beta Gavin. Nothing fell apart, crumbled, or burned to the ground. So let's call that a win. Now, what is so important that you must discuss it with my mate without asking for his time? I know, as a good Luna, you are aware of protocol. Brother or no, his time is precious. He is always available to pack. But you aren't pack anymore, are you? She blusters. I am more important than pack. I am his sister, and no one comes before blood. You are nothing when it comes to blood. He should have rejected your freaky little ass. He can't even take you out in public. I can't imagine what he sees in you. I laughed at her, which pissed her off even more. She slapped me, and before I could retaliate, Aaron had her pinned against the wall. You dare lay hands on my mate? I should crush you right now. And I wrapped my arms around him from behind, soothing both him and Artemis. He released her and stepped back, saying, meet me in my office in an hour, Deborah. It will take me that long to decide not to kill you. We walked back into the office and shut the door. I smiled. Well, I just bet she's a real hoot at a party, yeah? He chuckled. She's always been a spoiled, self-entitled bitch. My parents' golden child. I have never claimed her as my sister. The bond just isn't there. She made it her life's goal to make me as miserable as possible. Gavin speaks up. The things she's pulled on Aaron are atrocious. Their mother pampered her so much that on Aaron's 8th birthday, she pitched such a fit about his having chocolate cake wasn't fair, going so far as to smashing the cake on the floor and demanding a vanilla one, that every birthday after that, he always had vanilla. To appease Deb, Aaron looks up and says, I hate vanilla cake. Gavin laughed. I know, I really wanted cake that day too, Aaron laughs. Then says, what about her 10th birthday party? She made everyone dress in pink. And when I shifted the first time, accused me of doing it on purpose. Because I just had to ruin her party, like I could control it. No one knew I would shift early. We settled down, and I examined the photo against the drawing in the book. Looking at Tremaine, I said, "You are the next Coralline tree. You are the Lord of Alfheim." His face was in absolute shock. He stammered, "How? How is that possible? I don't have royal blood. I don't believe we are related to the current Coralline. I just don't understand." I grabbed the book and started looking for anything to help us understand. Once I found what I believed was an explanation, I read aloud, "Coralline Lorethian, god of elves, created light elves over 4,000 years ago. Their purpose was to protect all of Earth's 3 realms, re-establish balance in nature, maintain deflect natural catastrophes when needed, and to serve all species in difficult circumstance. 1,000 years after their creation, they became bored and started playing with dark practices, becoming mischievous, creating havoc and mayhem. Their practical jokes became hazardous and harmful. Many turned to blood magic, using the blood of other species to corrupt their own powers, making them dangerous, not only to themselves, other elves, but to all species. The god decided he would have to appoint a lord, a demigod, to reside and rule the elves. With his light elves evolving into dark and blood elves, he realized that evil resides in all beings. His choice must always be an elf with an incorruptible, pure heart. He chooses not by bloodline, but by purity of souls. His mark always appears on his chosen one within 2 days of birth. As long as the heart stays pure in his chosen, the mark remains. I look up and summarize, God Coralline Lorethian chooses his Corallines at birth. Apparently, as long as they remain true to their hearts. The birthmark remains as proof of the chosen. It begs the question, is the current Lord Coralline in hiding because his mark is fading? Or has it faded already? Tremaine has been marked 17 years. Has his mark been gone so long? We all sit, stunned, and Tremaine is simply in shock. Aaron says, "I guess we can call off the guards we've had watching him. Obviously, his intentions are good." Tremaine asked, "I was being shadowed? Really? Well, kudos to the people doing it. I never suspected a thing. Awesome." And I laughed. Shadow ninjas.
Chapter 22, just like you, Aaron's POV.
Shaylin's family left to head back to Starry Moon, taking 20 of our warriors with them. 20 of theirs will arrive here tomorrow. This is a good plan. Both our packs training together, and with Shay and Tremaine teaching us how to fight against elves will turn the tide in this war. Gavin ushers Deborah in, and I really am dreading this. I deal with this shit every time she comes here. It's probably something as ridiculous as wanting Marco to shut down a salon in town because they didn't have her preferred shade of pink nail polish. She sits and immediately starts, "Why is she here? This should only be heard by family members, and she isn't of our blood." Shaylin gets snarky. "If I was of your blood, our mating would be incestuous. I think the moon goddess would frown on that." I pulled her into my lap and said, "Deborah, I fail to see what could possibly be so important you would request a private audience with me. You are no longer a member of our pack, and are fully mated, if I recall. Therefore, I no longer have a familial influence over your life. Pray tell me, what can I help you with?" She sniffed and acted all put upon. "You have always been so difficult, never doing what you're told, never listening to anything I said to do. I wanted to talk to you about Marco. He has been acting off the last several months. His mood has been horrendous. When I asked about coming here for the ceremony, he told me he had more important things to do, and that if I had a mind to stay here, to be his guest, something is not right." I immediately said, "You're not staying here. If he is going through something, it is your job, as his mate, to stand by him and help him through it. I will not come between you and your mate. I will, however, call Marco and see if he has need of my help." She snarls, "It is just like you to automatically take any side that isn't mine. You have never tried to be any kind of brother to me. You were such a disappointment to Mama and Daddy. Daddy even told you on his deathbed to take care of me. Look after me. But have you? No, mated me to the first alpha you could, as far away as you could get me. I roared, mated you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Marco is your given mate. You act like I forced you to be his mate, you insipid silly twit. And father didn't say, look after your sister. His exact words were, watch out for your sister, in reference to your deceitful and conniving ways. Shaylin muttered, big difference in interpretation there, Debbie. Deborah slammed her hand on the table. My name is Deborah, causing Shay to laugh harder. Oh, it is not. You pretentious, preposterous attention whore. I dialed the phone and watched Deborah's face as Marco answered, Aaron, enjoying your sister's visit? It would appear not, since you're calling me. What has she done this time? I look at Deborah and notice she's paled. I raise my eyebrows at that. Marco, long time, man. Yes, I am calling. It seems your mate believes you may be in some sort of difficulty and could need help getting out of it. So tell me, what's going in? It takes him a couple minutes before he answers. When he does, it's with a sigh. The difficulty I am having is your sister. We talked about children when we first mated. She wanted to wait, just have time with each other. We agreed to 2 years. She knows we need an heir to carry on our pack's legacy. It's been 5 years, and she is still falling back on our agreement. Says I promised to give her time. I gave her time. After the 3rd year, I would bring it up, every couple weeks, with the same excuse. Then it went to once a month, every other month. Then I stopped asking. Until a week ago, I asked when she would be ready to have kids. She told me she isn't sure she ever wants kids. After 5 years, she wants to tell me this. I look at Deborah and ask, this is what you want me to help Marco with? This situation you have created? At her nod, I said, okay, here's the solution. Marco, you cannot force your mate to get pregnant. You can, however, as misogynistic as it is, according to the werewolf laws, find a surrogate to impregnate. Or you can reject your current mate and take a chosen, one that will give you pups. I understand your need for an heir, just as any good Luna would understand. Marco responds, well, that's better advice than I was going with. I was going to give her an ultimatum. To set a date when we would start trying to conceive, or I will find a she-wolf to willingly carry my pup. But the idea of a whole new mate is appealing. On hanging up, Deborah gasped. She stood and walked to the door, turning to face me. She said, I hope you're satisfied. I have no other choice but to go home and get knocked up. My luck, he will turn out just like you. I laughed at her, telling her, you most certainly have a choice. No one can force you to get pregnant. However, I believe you will end up mateless. And just like me, you should be so lucky. No, dear sister, your child will be just like you.
Chapter 23, Front Row Seats.
It's been 3 days since Aaron and I woke from our nap. Andrew's warriors had arrived to train. Tremaine has taken over teaching them how to avoid and avert elfin magic. Aaron doesn't need to train. He is immune to it now. I am sitting on the floor of our closet. I have my handheld mirror open to my father's castle. I have to be in the dark, or my shimmer will be too easy to spot. I watch as Galper and Hildy complain and argue, until Galper says, the portal will open tomorrow. Scouts will go out first. As soon as word comes back Tremaine is spotted, assassins will be sent out to retrieve him. And Hildy goes stark white. Assassins? Why assassins? Galper growls, a precaution, mother. And to kill the little bitch? I know she took him. I shut the portal and ran to find Aaron. He was at the training center, and I told him what I had heard. He asked if a location was mentioned, but I shook my head. If it's within 100 miles of our territory, I will feel when it opens, just like with the other one. I can locate it fairly quickly if you want. The scouts are harmless. The assassins after that, not so much. I'd like to locate it and capture the assassins as they come through. That'd be fun. Tremaine joined us, and we told him about Galper. He had the same thought as me. Let the scouts pass, and find Tremaine, and let them return. Capture the assassins as they come through. That will deplete the amount of specialized warriors Dullendirk has. Aaron asks, did you think it odd that none of the council members showed to your ascension ceremony? Nor were we even congratulated by the kingdom. I believe we should call the king. It's time I speak with him anyway. We headed to the office. I'll admit, he brought up a good point, and I am curious now. He called and informed the secretary who he was, and was put through right away. Alpha Steel, what's it been? At least a year, right? Aaron chuckled back. About that long, yes, King Roland. I'm checking with you to see if the council had updated you. Roland's voice grew stern. Updated me how? I haven't spoken to any of those old reprobates in over 3 months. Well, that's informative. Aaron tells him they are back to pushing their own agendas again. They were pushing me to take a chosen. When I refused, they threatened me with, well, I refused again and told them I will withdraw my support from the kingdom. But I found my mate, so I haven't done that. Roland laughed and said, good for you. When is her ascension? I will try to make it. Aaron explained it was last week, but that explains why we hadn't heard from him. Then Aaron asked what he can tell us about the upcoming war with the elves. Roland didn't know what he was talking about. I asked, how did the council know about the portal? It had sat undisturbed for nearly a year. Then all of a sudden, bam, gotta fix this. Roland replies, the council have a few witches on payroll, so I would assume that's how it was found. But I am still concerned I wasn't made aware of the elves until just now. What of Corlin? Is he taking affirmative action? I replied, Corlin is losing his lord status. A new lord has just come of age. No one has seen Corlin in a couple months. He's not taking calls. King Callan and the Blood Elf King are leading this hostile action against our realm. Roland sputters. What? What do you mean? How do you know? Have you been in Dullendirk? I assure him I have not. Not for 5 years. But my brother was there until 2 weeks ago, and his intel is valid, Aaron tells him. I simply wanted to apprise you of the situation. I will not require council interference. They couldn't aid me out of a wet paper bag. So, I will not request assistance. Starry Moon and our pack will handle it. If the monarchy or the council try to capitalize on this war, without participating, there will be retribution. Roland assures Aaron that he bows to his expertise in the matter, and his people were going to look a little more deeply into the council's recent activities. Aaron agrees and said something has been different about Jeffrey lately. We went down to dinner and found Amy sitting beside Evan. He had a save me look on his face. I smiled and asked, Amy, are your parents here? Her eyes slanted to the side table in the back. I nodded. Best get your ass back to them. This table is for ranks and guests. She snarled at me and Aaron snapped his fingers. She shot a look at him and he ordered, check the attitude. Once she was gone, Evan shivered. There is something wrong with that girl. She is fixated on you, bro. Obsessed even. Wanting to know about the two of you. When you're not together? Crazy talk. I said. I warned her. I gave her a reprieve and didn't kill her. Looks like that might have been a mistake. Aaron laughed and told me, if she keeps up with this bullshit, you can follow through on your warning. Evan says, I want front row seats.
Chapter 24, Big Surprise. Aaron's POV.
Shaylin and I are discussing what to do with Amy, and she has an excellent idea. We are sending her to a university out of state, one that teaches the moon goddess doctrine. The entire curriculum is geared towards preparing wolves for their mates, making sure rejection is taken seriously and detrimental to wolves everywhere. I linked Gavin to bring Amy and her parents to my office. Might as well get this over with. Shaylin sits in the chair beside me desk, saying she will be relieved to have Amy away for a while. I leaned over, kizing her. Just as Gavin walked in with Amy, I told them to have a seat and spoke. Amy, your behavior has become an issue. Your Luna and I have decided to send you to Moonglow University in Maine. You will stay there for 2 years, studying the moon goddess's edicts, until you learn about the sanctity of the mate bond. At the end of those 2 years, you will be evaluated and tested. If you fail, you will stay another 2 years. This has to change, Amy. You are not going to come between my mate and me. What happened between us was 5 years ago. Let it go. It was a mistake then. It is still my biggest regret. She started crying. I will stop. Don't send me away. I just didn't believe Shaylin is good enough for you. She's an elf. Why would a wolf be mated to an elf? I will leave it alone, though. I don't want to leave. Her father spoke. Alpha, if I may, I believe it is in Amy's best interest that she does attend that school. I took the liberty of taking these pictures. I believe you should see them. And he handed me his phone, open to his photo gallery. The pictures were startling. They were of a bedroom. Every wall was covered in pictures of me, several of Shay and me. One particular picture was of us dancing, and Amy had superimposed her face over Shay's. Other pictures of Shay and me showed Shaylin's face X'd out, scratched out, scribbled out. The wild bedroom was wall to wall, ceiling to floor. Pictures of me, creepy as fuck. And Shaylin said, "Oh yeah, you're definitely going to university, and you will be required to attend therapy sessions 2 hours daily." Amy jumped up to reach for Shaylin, who smiled and told her, "Or I will put you down. Right here, right now." I dismissed them, after giving strict instructions to get her packed and ready to leave in an hour. Then I had Gavin appoint 2 guards to accompany her to the school. It will be such a relief to have her gone. Just then, Shaylin gasped as we both felt a ripple of energy shake our bodies. I looked at her. What the fuck was that? She grinned and asked, "You felt that? Your elven powers are getting stronger." That, my love, was the opening of a rather large portal, I'd say. She had no sooner said that. 2 things happened. Tremaine slammed into the office and my phone rang, Nimue on the other end. Answering, I put her on speaker. "Hello, Nimue. We felt it here. It reached you?" She responded immediately. "Yes, since we all felt it. It is safe to assume it's opened between our 2 packs. That narrows the playing field and actually makes it convenient." Tremaine says, "We need to locate it quickly. The scouts will be entering this realm within the hour. It will help, knowing how many scouts they send out. The plan is to let them find where I'm staying." I replied, "The plan is to make them work for it. They will find you. But we want it to take them at least a week. Longer would be better. That gives us the opportunity to have teams in place to take the assassins into custody as they filter through the portal." Shaylin tells us, "I have an approximate location. Let's head out. Tremaine, I want you to stay here. I don't want an accidental sighting until we are ready." We headed out within 10 minutes. Nimue and Malcolm are meeting us in neutral territory, where Shay said she senses the most energy. It will be just the 4 of us, with warriors hidden from view in case we are spotted. Within minutes of arriving, Nimue and Shaylin located the portal. It was huge, easily 8 feet high and 6 wide. Shay grins. Well, that is unexpected. Plans on using it to get as many through at once as he can. Can you see it? As she turns to me, I nod. I couldn't see the other one until you exposed it, but this one is clear as day. I also see a group of about 12 walking this way. She spun and looked again at Dullendirk and says, Fuck, hide. We all grabbed tree branches and hoisted ourselves up into the trees. Watching the portal as the men stepped through was surreal. 12 men now stood, where before there was nothing. I saw them all stop and sniff the air, then head towards the area of town. Once they were gone from view, I looked back at the portal. It was closed. I looked at Shaylin. She shrugged. They closed it once they were through. Luckily, we already know where it is, so we can get our warriors into decent hiding places. I have a feeling my house in town is where they're headed. She's not living there anymore. Big surprise.
Chapter 25. We didn't say scat.
It's been a week, and we have had these poor scouts running in all different directions. Today is the day they get their first hint of Tremaine's whereabouts. Right now, though, I am looking for my mate. He wasn't having breakfast. He's not in his office. So I am headed to the conference room. Walking in without knocking, I pull up short. The entire 5-man council were sitting there. Fuck. I stammered through an apology for interrupting, but Aaron held his hand out for me to join him. As I walked over, he pulled me into his lap and said, Gentlemen, allow me to introduce my mate and Luna, Shaylin Greenleaf Steele. They all acknowledged me, and Jeffrey remarked, Right on time, Luna Shaylin. We were just discussing the need for some refreshments. I am hoping for some coffee. Would you care to arrange that? I smiled and said certainly. And he waited. He kept looking at me, then at the door. It dawned on me then. He was expecting me to go fetch it, not realizing I had already linked the kitchen. After a few minutes, he asked, Luna, I believe I asked for refreshments to be brought in. A good Luna would jump to do the bidding of her guests. I laughed and looked at Aaron. Is he for real? First of all, Councilman, I ordered refreshments right away. If you thought to send the little woman out of the room so the boys can have a confab, you have another think coming. And do tell me, do you wake up every morning and choose to be an asshole? Or do you have to take pills for it? Aaron choked back a laugh and tells me the council showed up this morning. Unannounced, I might add, to question me about the elves that have been seen wandering around our territories. And the neutral land between us, I nodded, asking, And how were the council notified of such activity? Are we being spied on? Is there a traitor in our midst? Councilman Edward said, Our witches told us when they felt the portal open between worlds. I looked at him. No, they didn't. They wouldn't have felt it. Elfin magic is not the same, unless one of your witches is indeed an elf, or at the very least, part elf. She would not have been able to feel it, and they would have to be on top of the portal before they sensed it. He scoffed and said, I find that hard to believe. They found the other one. Aaron snaps, and they found it by accident. My mate is of royal blood, next in line to be queen. If any of you use a tone less than what I deem respectful, I will send you home holding your head in your lap. Now, I suggest you tell me your real purpose for being here. It obviously isn't about the elves you've heard about. Mitchell tells us a lone wolf in town called us yesterday, telling us elves had been seen in and around town for several days now, and were concerned. We came to investigate. Learning your mate is a light elf, so normal process of elimination lead us to your pack. Aaron nods and smirks. My takeaway from that whole spiel is that I have to reevaluate the status of the lone wolves in my town. Wouldn't you say? I have nothing to tell you. I have apprised the king of the situation at hand. which concerned me upon finding he had heard nothing about the previous occurrences with the portal and elves. He was slightly alarmed about the council's inability to communicate with him properly. Imagine that. Geoffrey yells, "You had no business speaking to King Roland. We have it under control. Going above our heads is uncalled for. The king is apprised of any situation that threatens the security of the realm." This incident was being handled. Refreshments arrived, and everyone stood to help themselves when Aaron spoke again. "I'm curious, Geoffrey. None of you considered the possibility of an elven uprising sufficient threat against the security of the realm? And is that also why Roland was not notified of Shaylin's ascension to Luna? You may be his advisors, but I am the right arm of the monarchy. Yet, none of you saw fit to notify him I had met my mate, much less the possibility of a war." Glenn speaks up. "We had been discussing how best to broach the subject before we brought it to the king. He doesn't like to be presented with maybes. He wants irrefutable proof. We have been gathering intel before we speak with him." Mitchell tells Aaron, "As far as your mate is concerned, we were not certain the event was actually happening. It felt off. We had told you it was time to think about choosing a mate. And all of a sudden you had found your mate. Too much of a coincidence to be believed." I grinned. "Well, as excuses go, that one was about as lame as I have ever heard. Who did you think you would fool with that line of bullshit? He told you he would accept nothing less than his true mate. Yet, when he told you he had found me, you doubted his word. Forgive me if I doubt everything that comes out of your mouths." Geoffrey snarled, "Well, aren't we lucky we don't answer to you then?" And Aaron yoked him up by the throat. "What did I tell you about disrespecting my queen? I am more than happy to relieve your body of the empty space that resides atop your neck." I reached up and rubbed Aaron's back. "Let him keep his head, baby. I don't want to clean the mess it will make." Gavin walked in the door, seeing Aaron's hand wrapped around Geoffrey's throat. The man damned near blew and grinned, "Hate to spoil your good time, Alpha, but Tremaine's being followed." We didn't hesitate or say scat. We ran for the door.
Chapter 26. So, there's that.
We ran out and jumped in the car, hurrying to pick Tremaine up from town, Gavin telling us where to go. We reached him just as he turned the corner by the diner. He spotted us and grinned, pointing over his shoulder. We saw 4 men coming up behind him. I opened the back door of the truck and he jumped in. Aaron burned rubber, almost spinning a donut, leaving out of there. Tremaine was laughing like crazy and said, "Holy shit, that was exciting. They have been on my tail for 2 hours. I lost sight of Evan, somewhere around the bank, I think. And they just kept coming." I went inside the haberdashery and out the back. Stopped at the diner just now for a soda. Then when I stepped out, there were those 4 across the street. I led them around a while, but texted Gavin because they were getting too close. Aaron grins. "You did good. Our teams are setting up camp on both sides of the portal. They should all be returning to Dullendirk to give their reports. We may have a few assassins in custody by morning. Andrew has offered Starry Moon's detention facilities if we get overrun by assassin elves." I smirk at him in the rear view mirror. "Or we just kill the overflow," Gavin laughs. "Or, there's that." By the time we had returned to the pack house, word had come that our warriors were hiding in place and had already witnessed 6 scouts returning to Dullendirk. Aaron told them to hang tight because we have a feeling it won't take long before we start seeing the combatants. He took my hand and we went to the conference room to discuss our plan of attack, only to find it occupied. "Why the fuck are you still here?" The councilmen had awaited our return. "That's not creepy at all," Geoffrey says. "We wish to be apprised of what is happening. Who is Tremaine? And why is he so important that you had to leave a meeting?" I growled, A meeting is usually an agreement between two parties scheduled at a prearranged place for a set time. This was an impromptu visit by unwanted guests. You're more like the unwanted family that overstays their welcome. Evan laughs and tells them, "That's our Luna. She makes us so proud." Mitchell stood and said, "It is time to take our leave. Please, Alpha Aaron, do not hesitate to call, should you need us." Aaron scoffs and tells him, "Don't expect it. I have learned not to rely on men who serve their own interests." We went to the dining hall for dinner, and Evan was telling Tremaine about muscle cars and Tree was hanging on every word. I remember the first time I saw cars in this realm. They scared the bejesus out of me. Cars in Elfheim are like golf carts here. It was just getting dark, and we got a mind link that 2 assassins had been caught. But 2 escaped and were loose, which means we have to get them before they get to Shay. I smile. "Don't worry, babe. I know their modus operandi. They won't get the drop on us." "I would like to see the assassins when they're brought in, though," he agreed, saying maybe we can get a clue as to how many Callan is sending. Gavin told us the team will be here in about 10 minutes, so we headed to the cells. I asked Aaron, since I am heir to the throne, "Do you think I can command the assassins?" He stood thinking, then asked me, "Are assassins considered light elves?" I nod my head. They are considered light, but assassins are chosen for one reason. They have black marks on their soul. To be a successful assassin, you have to possess the ability to be a killer and pull yourself back from it. He sputtered out, "Weren't you chosen to be an assassin? Do you go dark?" I laughed. "I wasn't chosen. I was forced to train. All light elves can go dark. When I have to kill, I dim my light, and I never give in to the dark." He grins. "Well, that's a relief." We watched as the elves were brought in and chained. Aaron told them to get comfortable. "These are your new accommodations until after the war. Don't worry, though. You'll have plenty of company." I had been hanging back out of the light until one of the elves spoke. "You can't keep us here. We will escape." I stepped forward, looked at the man's face, and was immediately pissed. "Shane Muldoon? What the fuck, dude? You took the contract to kill me? You did? Of all the people in Dullendirk, you were my friend. My only friend? Or at least I thought you were. Apparently, even friendship is a one-way street in Dullendirk." Shane sputtered. Shaylin, is that really you? And what? Kill you? My contract isn't to kill you. Fuck. I thought you were dead. We all think you're dead. We are here to assassinate the kidnappers of Tremaine Greenleaf and bring him home. That's my contract. Take my binder from my waist. In the pouch is a copy of the contract. I would never hunt you. We grew up together. You are my friend Shaylin. Oh my goddess, I grieved you for years. Over 5 years ago, we were told wolves broke a portal and killed you when you were gathering flowers in the meadow by the sycamore," and he began to cry. Aaron removed his binder, which was little more than a fanny pack. Grown men wearing fanny packs? What has Dullendirk come to? I watched Aaron sift through the contents, and when he found the contract, sure enough, it read they were to find the traitor to the kingdom, a rogue she-elf living with the wolves who ambushed Shaylin Greenleaf, killing her. The rest of the contract was to kill any wolves they came across, and with proof of death, they would be compensated for every death. So now, Callan has the assassins killing wolves too. He is definitely overreaching. I look at Shane and ask, "Now what?" "We won't let you return to Dullendirk. Not until Callan no longer sits the throne. I'm not sure I can trust you enough not to keep you locked up. I want to. But damn, Shane, you were coming to try and kill me." He smirks and says, "Yeah, well, if I had known you were alive and our target, I never would have volunteered. I don't mind hanging out here until you stop Callan. But the Corlin isn't even trying to quell the uprising. I can help you. I know how many light elves are going to fight. I also know for a fact, if they knew you are alive, they wouldn't fight. They believe their cause is just and are willing to die to avenge their rightful queen. Aaron walks in and unchains Shane. You will remain in the cells, but we will make sure you are fed and comfortable. Right now, Shaylin and I are going to contact Nimue and work on letting everyone in Dullendirk know their queen lives. Shane gasps. The queen mother is alive. We are all taught in school that her wolf mate killed her after Arwen was born, because she was a girl. I laughed. Guess that's why I was never allowed to go to school. And in reality, that story is about my own mother. Callan killed her when I was born, because I was female. The lies just keep piling up. My grandparents have a son. My uncle Andrew is alpha now. He is half elf too, like my mother. But it makes sense for Callan to sow seeds of dissent. He has been planning this war a long time, it seems. This grudge against wolves stems from somewhere. I think I need to research the old sperm donor some more. Aaron ordered a meal for Shane and told him we would be back later. After we spoke to Nimue and Malcolm, as we walked out, he said, "Your father has a grudge against wolves. We really need to find the catalyst that spurred this on." I agree and ask, do you think this might go back to the Great War between the realms? Prejudices of this magnitude are always generations in the making. I do remember growing up. He was adamant that all wolves are dangerous, maniacal killing machines. So there's that.
Chapter 27, Time for We Time. Aaron's POV.
I immediately went to my office and dialed Starry Moon. Andrew answered immediately, and I brought him up to date on what we have learned. I asked him to have Malcolm and Nimue to join the call. I told them that everyone in Dullendirk believes the Queen Mother and the future queen were killed by wolves, that the story of Nimue is her mate murdered her. Malcolm lost his temper, and they agreed to come to Silver Steel Pack. Within 2 hours, they arrived. Nimue wanted to go to the cells immediately and talk to Shane. He was shocked to see the Queen Mother, and she calmed him with a touch. She asked him, "Tell me, Shane, if Callan is telling everyone Malcolm murdered me, how did he explain my presence at Arwen's coronation?" He coughs and says, "It's written in our books at school. Give me a minute to recall what we were taught." Callan himself doesn't talk about it, only in passing, or when he wants to motivate his fighters. He talks about the ambush that ripped Shaylin to shreds, and how all wolves are murdering ruthless savages. Look what the Queen Mother's own mate did to her. Oh, that's it. He didn't get a son from you. So he had mistresses who all tried to give him a son. That it took 10 years, but one finally gave birth to a boy. But he couldn't have a bastard son crowned alpha, so he killed you to take the mistress as his mate, legitimizing the son. Nimue laughed. That's quite the tale. I would have never, in a million years, have credited Callan with such a vivid imagination. He's even more twisted than I believed. That answers that. She stood and touched Shane's cheek. Smiling, she said, "You are a good man. You are special to my Shaylin. It is good you sit this war out." During the next hour, we talked about how to get the true story out to Dullendirk. If the Light Elves can know the truth, a lot of them might stand down. Shaylin spun around from the window. What if we broadcast it through the kingdom? We lock the portal from our side. We can do it together. We can shield this side to prevent them coming through. I know the shield will only hold about 20 minutes if they choose to charge at us. But it's worth a shot, yeah. We can make sure we have plenty of warriors on our side if they break through. I ask, in theory, that's not a bad idea, but how do you broadcast it? We aren't tapped into the network inside Dullendirk, so we can't do a telecast. I got nothing. Malcolm says, I have an idea. Nim, my love, isn't there a way of calling attention to the portal? like how we felt the portal open. Can you send vibrations or something through the portal to alert the people to pay attention? Shaylin says, I can. I will throw fireballs at it. They will explode against the mirror, causing loud bangs to vibrate throughout the kingdom. I nod. Good, that's good. Now we have their attention. How do we project your voices enough the entire horde can hear? Nimue says, bullphones, making us all laugh with a visual image of a bull talking on a cell phone, pacing back and forth. Malcolm, still laughing, says, bullhorn, or megaphone, baby girl. But I think I prefer bullphone. I stand, looking at Gavin. I tell him, get your hands on some megaphones. Make sure they are fully powered up. Shaylin was still by the window. She said, Evan is heading this way. In a hurry. He bursts through the door. Luna's house is burning. The fire department are on scene, but they need to talk to you. We all run for the trucks and beeline it to town. 7 minutes later, we pulled up to Shay's house. It was a complete loss, burned to the ground. She hit the ground on her knees, and her eyes were twitching between her ice blue glow and her usual blue. Nimue touched her shoulder, and she began to soothe. I saw an elf on his knees, in front of the burned remnants of my Luna's home, and all I wanted in that moment was to snap his neck for causing my love pain. I stepped in his direction, just as Nimue walked straight up to him and slapped his face so hard, I was sure the reverb could be heard in China. She yelled, Charles, what the fuck were you thinking? Have you allowed the dark to control your heart? And when did you become an assassin? You're a fucking farmer. I stood there stunned. She knows this prick. He stutters. Nimue? No, you're dead. That's why I am an assassin. I am here to kill the traitor who allowed the wolves in to kill the princess and to kill your mate. But that's my own agenda. Nimue, still yelling, there is no traitor, and my mate is right there. Although I'd advise against attacking him. He will eat you, you fucking Nimrod. What would my sister say? Her only son, an assassin, for a dirtbag like Kellen. Shaylin walked up to her grandmother and stood beside her. Her sad little face asked, Why? Why destroy my home? You knew I wasn't here. I'm positive you walked through the house. You could tell it was vacant. So why? He shrugged and replied, Galbher ordered anything belonging to or pertaining to the traitor was to be destroyed. Are you the traitor? You look like our princess, but she's dead too. If it weren't for your hair, though, you could be her twin. And Nimue slapped him again. You fucking idiot. She is the princess, and my granddaughter. How gullible you kingdom elves have become. Callan has lied to all of you. He lied to us. Charles, you are my nephew, but you are now a prisoner. Where is the other assassin? Who is he? Charles shrugged. He ran when we heard the sirens. I hid in the trees across the street, hoping the traitor would show when they heard about the fire. But these incompetent firemen lost control of that giant hose thing when the water was released. The stupid thing danced in the street, while 5 of them tried to catch it. When one of them finally got a hold of it, he sprayed everything in a complete circle before he could aim it correctly. Asshole sprayed my ass out of that tree. I busted out laughing. Well, that explains why he's wet. Malcolm laughed and hollered out to the sheepish-looking fireman, Please tell me someone got it on video. One guy held up his phone, grinning, while another said, Fucking rookie, video's everything. We all laughed again when Shaylin asked, Let me guess, you were the hose chaser. And he nodded. An hour later, we had 3 assassins in the cells and 1 running loose. I have no doubt he will be captured by morning. It was late, and I wanted some alone time with my bride. She was of like mind, as we took the stairs 2 at a time, with me chasing her gorgeous ass to our room. Time.
Chapter 28. There are consequences.
We spent the morning going over our plan. Grandma and I had prepared a speech, while Aaron and Grandpa arranged for warriors to be with us. Word came in an hour ago that the last assassin this side of the portal had been arrested trying to get back to Dullendirk. He should be in the cells by now. Charles was given a meal and dry clothes once he was locked down. He and Shane had been talking all morning according to the cameras. We arrived at the portal just before noon, knowing it was the busiest time of day for the kingdom, and most of the people would be out and about. We both stood in front of it, and I summoned a solar flare. I formed a ball between my hands and started tearing chunks off, hurling it at the portal. The reverberation could be felt throughout our entire bodies, and soon enough, a crowd was gathering at the portal. Many of them looked shocked that it even existed. That was surprising. Grandma and I threw up a shield on our side as she put the megaphone up to her face. As you can all see, the reports of my death has been greatly exaggerated. I am very much alive. You have been lied to, Dullendirk. Your false king has fed you lies and betrayals for over 2 decades, and now he is declaring war against a species who nearly wiped the elves out 2 centuries ago. He would have you believe you are ready to vanquish Earth's realm. It is not possible. While Alfheim has remained stagnate for 200 years, Earth has progressed, moved forward. You stand no chance. My name is Nimue Branson Nee Springlake. Only my bloodline are the true monarchy. That is not Callan Greenleaf. She hands me the megaphone. Many of you know my face, as you can see, quite clearly. I was not ripped apart by wolves. The assassins being sent to this realm are to kill me. My own father has ordered my assassination. The reason for that is simple. He wants his oldest son ensconced on the throne. What he doesn't realize is the throne is not his to pass down. And just as I said that, the man himself charged the portal. He slammed into it and bounced off. What the hell? How are you doing that? He yelled for his warriors to attack. But they pulled up short when they saw all our warriors step up behind me. I grinned at Callan. Just so you know, a new Corlin has been chosen. Didn't see that coming, did you? He is already in possession of the proof you murdered my mother. You murdered the queen, and you have tried to murder me, by your own order, and by the assassins you are sending to this realm. Light elves, hear me now. Throw down your arms. Do not participate any further in this doomed venture, and I will spare your lives. Persist, and you will perish. Grandma and I stepped away from the portal and dropped the shield as we loaded back into the vehicles. The warriors started setting up camp in direct sight of the portal. Intimidation tactic. Aaron wanted them to see an army. And force, a visual fear for the elves to think about. I raced inside to the conference room, demanding all lights to be off. I opened a mirror portal directly in Callan's office. He was pacing, while Hildy and Galbher were seated. She was fretting her fingers and looked worried. Galbher asked, sarcastically, "What brilliant plan do you have now, Father? She successfully outed your lies, and we are losing the support of the people rapidly. You need to speak to the Corlin. What did she mean by there being a new one? Who?" Callan screamed, "Stop your yammering, I can't think." And Galbher sneers, "Apparently, that has been the issue all along. Your inability to think ahead. Luckily, I don't have that problem. Tonight, we take down the portal. In a week or so, we will reopen it. In a different place. We will send 100 elves through. We do that once every couple days. Move the portal. Send elves through. All with a specified rendezvous point. To all meet 2 days before we attack. The wolves will think we have given up. That could work. Excellent gal. Good thinking," Callan remarked as he walked out the door. Galbher looks at Hildegard and said, "I am going to have to him killed before he fucks all our plans up. You realize that, don't you?" She shrugs and tells him, "As long as he doesn't get in our way, I will be Blood Queen." As soon as they left the office, I closed the portal and looked at Aaron. Deceit and deception are rampant. Callan has an agenda. Hildy has a different agenda. And Goddess only knows what Galper's agenda is. It's more corrupt than I realized. He pulled me into his lap, whispering, "None of this is your fault. Power corrupts, absolutely. That is what happened to Callan. He got a taste of power and got greedy. That will be his downfall. The same applies to Galper, although he is more cunning and more corrupt than his father ever dreamed of. Our head warrior linked us Alpha. Luna, we have a problem." Aaron links back expound. "There are about 150 elves on their knees in front of us, and more are coming through the portal. We run for the vehicles with my grandparents, reaching the portal in less than 10 minutes. The entire clearing was now filled with elves, all on their knees with their hands locked behind their heads, the universal position of surrender. I stepped to the front of the line and yelled, 'Explain!' An elderly woman spoke. 'Your Majesty, if I may?' I nodded, telling her to speak. 'We cannot follow King Callan any longer. He has threatened all of us with execution if we believe what you told us. The truth is, we do believe it, every word. We request asylum.' I look helplessly at Aaron, and he smiles. 'Asylum is granted. We must tell you the portal will be moved soon. If there are any others, they must move through quickly.' The elderly woman said, 'My son and his family are coming through. If someone can tell him, he will spread the word.' I nodded and asked Evan to meet the next ones out through the portal. We rushed back to the pack and had everyone available setting tents for a temporary campground. We definitely weren't ready to become a refugee camp. Proof positive. For each and every action, there are consequences.
Chapter 29, Spilled Salt. Aaron's POV.
It's been over a week since the refugees arrived. We have nearly 500 men, women, and children, all light elves. We put Tremaine in charge of them as part of his training for the Corlin position. Talk about a comedy of errors. Shaylin is in the bathroom again. This is the third day in a row, so guess where we're heading? Yep, and doctor, she thinks it's a flu bug. I think it's a pregnancy. She bet me a chocolate mousse she's right. I'm betting I'm eating chocolate mousse for dessert. We get to the clinic, and being Alpha, she is taken back immediately. The nurse sends her to the bathroom with a test. She comes back in the room and says, "I pee on a stick and the doctor can tell I'm pregnant." I am still not used to everything in this realm. It dawns on me she's only been here 5 years, and while she's learned a lot, there is still so much more to be discovered. I ask, "How do you test for pregnancy in Dullendirk?" She shrugs and looks away. "I don't really know, not having any women to talk to. It was just something I never asked about." I did hear an older woman talking once. She told her daughter to just inject her urine into a toad, and if it explodes, she's pregnant. That was just too Iowa for me. I will just pee on a stick. Thank you very much. I laughed and told her that's probably for the best. The doctor came in, pushing a machine. At my raised eyebrows, she said, "Ultrasound, congratulations, you're pregnant. Now let's see how far along you are." Shay looked at me, and her big blue eyes are even bigger than before. "Don't you have anything to say? Are you happy?" I grinned so big, I thought my face would split, and told her, "I am over the moon happy. Are you kidding me right now? I am getting chocolate mousse for dessert tonight." And she smacks me laughing. We watched the ultrasound screen, and the doctor just kept moving the wand around, stopping now and again, not saying a word. Shay gets frustrated. "Can't you find it? I mean, how hard can it fucking be?" The doc looked up and said "What? Oh yes. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I just get lost in my work, especially when I see a new little bean. There your baby sits. You see the little heartbeat? Now watch. Right here. See the jump? Hiccups. You're a little over 2 months. That means next week we will be able to tell the gender, and a little over 2 months to meet this bundle of joy. Walking back to the pack house, Shaylin is quiet. She hasn't said a word. I stop and pull her into my arms and whisper, "Are you scared?" At her nod, I ask of what. She sniffles, and I see a tear fall down her cheek. I catch it and lift her face to mine, kissing the trail the tear made. "Talk to me, baby. What is it?" She leans her head into my chest, well, between my chest and abdomen, and whispers, "Will you hate me if it's a girl?" Ah, now I get it. Pain, fear. Her father sure did a number on my tiny little elf. I whisper, "I am actually praying it's a girl, with her mommy's snow-white hair and big blue eyes. A little princess daddy's girl to have tea parties with. And dada-daughter days. There is no way on goddess's green earth I would or could ever hate you. For anything, I love you." She sniffled out a half giggle and said, "I guess I am a little more emotionally scarred than I thought." I held her tighter and told her, "I will tell you every day that I need you. I will prove to you every hour that I want you. I will show you every minute that I love you. I will fill your heart with it. You will feel it from my soul. Son or daughter, it will be the same for our pup." She started crying and whispered, "I love you so much." And I simply lifted her in my arms and walked home. Gavin raised an eyebrow when we walked in, and I mouthed, "Later." I carried her upstairs and laid her on the bed. Then I laid beside her, holding her close, and just let her cry it all out. Elves don't get sad or mad often, but when they do, all that pent-up sadness or anger comes rushing forth. She probably hasn't cried for everything she's been through. She needs this outlet. She cried herself to sleep, and I just lay with her, holding her close. 2 hours later, she sits up and asks, "What the hell was that?" I have never cried like that. I smiled and pulled her back down beside me and kissed her. I said, "That was years of sadness pouring from these beautiful eyes, and you needed it. It will help your heart cleanse itself. That, or you were so touched by my words your joy spilled over." She grinned. "You are such a dork. I was touched by your words, but I'm believing it was more of sadness and fear." I kissed her again and whispered, "I will always be here to put you back together each time you fall apart." And that time she kissed me, we showered and went down to have lunch with our pack. There's always a mix of elves and wolves, and it's an absolute joy to watch the interaction. Gavin was already seated, removing the salt shaker from Evan's hands. Then he did it again and again. Finally, as I was seated, I asked Evan what the fuck he is doing. He said, "I spilled salt," like that explained everything. "What?" He shrugged and looked nervously over his shoulder. "I spilled salt, so I was trying to throw salt over my left shoulder. It's bad luck to spill salt and not throw some over your left shoulder." I say, "Uh-huh, I see. And Gavin wouldn't let you throw salt?" He shook his head no. I asked him, "Why didn't you just pick up some of the salt you spilled and throw it over your shoulder?" He looks at the spilled salt, the salt shaker. Then me, I don't. I didn't. I was. And he picked up a pinch of spilled salt and tossed it over his shoulder. Shaylin barely stayed in her seat. Shay asks Evan why he's so superstitious. He says, "It's like karma. If you don't do something to ward off bad luck, bad things happen. My cousin didn't do it one time. He accidentally walked under a ladder, and I told him to walk around that ladder 3 times. I told him, he didn't do it. And know what happened the next day? Yep, he got hit by a bus, and it killed him." Shaylin gasped and asked, "Really?" Evan grinned from ear to ear and said, "Nope. It's just something I have always done." While the rest of us are dying laughing, she threw her fork at him. Luckily, he ducked. She said, "Now, that is karma." He laughed harder. "Sure, if karma's real name is Shaylin. She sneers at him and deadpans. Looks like that salt paid off. Else you wouldn't have ducked in time. That started us all laughing again.
Chapter 30. He called me baby.
We are getting concerned. Another week has passed and still no sign of the portal. I know it's coming, and the anticipation is killing all of us. Erin and I are sitting in Doc's office, waiting for our gender reveal. She printed some pictures and said she would be right back. When she walked in, she was grinning. Showing us the pictures, she said, "This is the arm, here a leg, the head and spine, and this, with the little circle around it, is proof of your son." I squeaked and hugged Erin so tight. He looked so happy. I said, "I am happy our first pup is a boy." He grins first. I nod and giggle at his cute face. When we got back to the office, I called my grandparents to let them know we're having a boy. But when she answered, she sounded stressed. I asked what's wrong, and she asked if we checked our email. Erin pulled it up, and I started reading. I gasped and said, "The Alpha King was told the Corlin killed himself? Tremaine isn't ready. Is he? What does this even mean? Is it the reason the portal isn't open?" Grandma chuckled ruefully. "Yeah, that calmed me right down. Thanks for that." And I said, "Oh, look, honey, Grandma's got sarcasm." He smiles and says, "My ladies, let's focus. We will call the king and find out what he was told. For all we know, it could be a lie. Callan claimed you both dead. Who's to say this isn't another one?" Grandma said they were driving down. They want to hear what the king has to say and get their first picture of the pup. Erin smiles and says, "Good thing we got extra copies." I asked Erin, "What are we going to do about the elves? Do we take them into custody as soon as they cross the portal? Or do we let them get to the rendezvous?" He said, "That's what we have been kicking around. We have also kicked around the possibility of you and Nimue each opening a portal and us invading." I leaped up. "That's exactly what we should do. We need 2 large mirrors and send our troops in 100 at a time. This waiting game has kept the ball in his court. I say we take it back." As soon as Andrew and my grandparents arrived, Erin had everyone in the conference room. He told us our idea, and Grandma asked how soon could we have the mirrors. Erin said, "I figured 2 of them from the ballroom would do. They are probably 12 by 12. Andrew asks, "When do we mobilize?" And Gavin tells him our troops are ready to move on a minute's notice. Erin says, "What if we open a portal here and one at Starry Moon? We would be attacking from different sides, and the element of surprise is ours." Grandpa says the girls can synchronize the opening of the portals via FaceTime, and we all arrive at the same time. Evan asks, "Okay, when do we do this?" Erin says, "Noon." "Tomorrow?" Grandma asked, "Should we call the king?" I linked Erin if we speak to Roland. "Not a word about our plans, please. We don't know who might be listening." "I don't trust the council at all," he answers, dialing him now. When Roland answered in his usual jovial manner, Erin asked, "King Roland? How definite is the death of the Corlin? It seems suspicious to me that word of his death comes after we outed King Callan as the murderer he is. Most of the light elves have fled Dullendirk." Roland snapped down the line. "What? Why wasn't I informed of this? What are you playing at, Steele? I won't stand for it. Are you harboring fugitives?" Erin growled. "You dare use that tone with me? And harboring? Fugitives? Are you utterly insane? I am providing sanctuary for refugees. You forget I am mated to their future queen, and you forget what I mean to our kingdom. Now answer my question. How much proof do you have the Corlin is dead?" He snarls. "They sent pictures of the man hanging from the rafters of a garage. Said they found him a week ago, and the realm was in mourning. Nothing about Fug, refugees." Erin says, "You know what I find funny, Roland? The face that Callan would refer to them as fugitives as well. Doesn't it strike you odd that you chose that term? I would appreciate a copy of those pictures either faxed to me or in my email within the hour. Have a nice day. Andrew chuckles. You don't have an ounce of respect for the king, do you? I have never seen anyone talk to him like that. Aaron smirks. I have the utmost respect for the greatest kingdom in the realm. The monarchy? Not so much. Roland is a weak king. A weak man. He allows the council to do pretty much as they please. This pack has been the royal muscle, if you will, for 3 generations. I have threatened to pull my support away from Roland if he doesn't do something with the council. They are corrupt. The taxes they imposed on smaller packs have caused some to go under. To incorporate into larger packs. That's bullshit. Did you know there are already 13 deposed alphas because of this? I gasp and look at Aaron. That cannot slide. What are we going to do about it? Can we contact these alphas and help them relocate? Reestablish their pack? That is so sad. Aaron pulls me into his lap and whispers, my ever-caring mate, once the war is over, we will dedicate our time to exposing the council as corrupt. Evan is already working on it. Then we will help those alphas. Okay? I nodded at him and smiled happily. My family left after the truck had arrived to transport that huge mirror, and we went out to speak to our warriors. One of the warriors walked over to us and softly said, Luna. I smiled at him and asked, Yes, Mark, what can I help you with? He grinned at me. Probably because I knew his name. But I know everyone's name. And when I said it, his thoughts were happy and full of pride. He said, We all know you are going to be in battle with us tomorrow, so we made you this, to protect our next alpha. He held up leather armor with steel plates across the chest and abdomen. It was surprisingly lightweight and sturdy. I smiled and kissed his cheek, thanking him. He blushed 7 shades of red and apologized to Aaron. The fuck? Aaron chuckled and hugged me close. Whispering, he apologized to me, afraid I was offended you kissed him. SHHH, calm, baby. I'm not at all offended. I am so very proud of how much they all love you. He's lucky. When he said offended, I was fixing to be all over him like stink on shit. But he calmed me down again by explaining, and he called me baby.
Chapter 31, That's My Girl. Aaron's POV.
We were up at the crack of dawn. The troops had geared up and moved into the clearing. We decided to open the portal in the clearing on the western side of the pack. Should we need to retreat and are being pursued, we didn't want the enemy too close to the pack house. Shaylin had been with her ladies, getting the bunkers ready for all our non-combatants. She even had bunkers ready for our elves. After that, she packed lunches and had them sent to the clearing because our men do not fight on empty stomachs. She then geared up. And damn it, she looked so cute in her new armor. Her katana and poignards strapped to her body. My favorite part, though, is the armor flares around her baby bump. She doesn't look pregnant. Unless you know what you're looking at. We are standing on site, waiting for Nimue to answer the call. She picked up, breathless, and chuckling, sorry, getting my ducks in a row here. 2 minutes. Set our stopwatch, now. And both their phones lit up with the countdown timer showing over their faces. Everyone counted down the last 5 seconds, and as soon as the shimmer started, and Dullendirk was in view, the portal stabilized and we began charging through. Before an alarm was even raised, we had 300 warriors through, with Andrew on the other side, and more charging through. Shaylin and I fought side by side. Artemis would not leave her side anyway. A blood elf jumped her from behind and bit into her shoulder. She stabbed him right through the eye, muttering fuker. Evan ran to her other side to make sure that doesn't happen again. We fought our way towards the castle. We had gained enough ground, I could see Andrew's warriors at the other side of the square. Malcolm was still on 2 feet, standing back to back with his Luna, and they fought so synchronously. It looked like dancing. Every light elf we came upon almost immediately surrendered. The dark elves could tell they were losing. I heard a loud roar and spun to see the Blood Elf King bearing down in Shaylin. She spotted him and grinned an evil little grin, waving her fingers in a bring it motion, and he was so pissed he charged without direction. She yanked her katana and sliced in a wide arc, decapitated him before he even reached her. He fell dead on the ground, and every blood elf left dropped their weapons, followed by the dark elves. Shay smiled at me and said, "To the castle?" I grinned back and said, "After you, my queen." We interlocked our fingers and met her family in front of the castle. Andrew says, "Shall we knock?" And Nimue said, "Nope," and blasted the door open with a fireball. We marched inside to find Hildegard dead on the floor. "What the hell?" Shaylin looked her over and said, "Strangled, like my mother, go figure." She stood up and yelled, "Oh, Callan, come out, wherever you are." I laughed and said, "Think that will work?" Nimue said, "There are 3 places they are going to be. The safe room in the office, the secret passageway off the kitchen, or the bunkers." We split up. I agree and send Evan with Andrew and his beta to check the secret passage. We are going to the office safe room, and Malcolm is going with Nimue to check the bunker. Reaching the office, Shaylin shuddered and turned into my arms. "Baby, you're shaking. Take a minute. I know this room brings bad memories. You want to wait outside while I check?" She shakes her head. "No, I will face it. I have to. It's how I will heal." We walked in, and she went to the bookcase. She closed her eyes and whispered, "He's here. I feel his thoughts. Galber isn't with him, though." I shrugged and whispered back, "Then, the others will find him. Let's just focus on getting Callan out for now." She searches the bookcase and found the lever. Pulling it, the shelf swung to one side, and we stood looking at a steel door. She grinned and lengthened a claw, poking her finger. A drop of blood hit the lock, and it worked its way through the tumblers, opening the door. I pulled her behind me, in case this asshole charges. He didn't come out at all. I spoke, "Callan, it's over. The elves surrendered to their queen. You need to surrender, or you will die." Then he charged out the door. His eyes were solid red, indicating he had been practicing blood magic. He snarled at Shaylin and ran for her. I grabbed him by the throat and shoved him into the wall. I growled, "That is my mate. She carries my air. You dare to think I would let you near her?" All the while, squeezing his throat tighter and tighter. Shay touched my arm and said, "I want his execution to be public. On the day of the coronation and Tremaine's ascension to Lord Corlin, I dropped him to the floor, letting him catch his breath. I yanked him up and slammed him into the hallway. I dragged him down to the first floor, and we waited for the other 2 groups. Malcolm threw Galber to the floor next to Callan. I asked, "Why'd you murder your second wife, Callan? You are such a pathetic waste of skin. 2 mothers, Callan. You took the lives of the mothers of your own children, your own flesh and blood. Why?" Galber listened to me, and his face lost all his color. He asked, "Father?" Callan snarled. "Shut up, boy. Can't you tell he's lying? They must have killed her when they broke in." Shaylin laughed. "Yeah, Galber, that's what happened. Because, oh, you know, your father couldn't be bothered with getting her to the safe room where he was hiding. You bastard. You choked her to death. Just like my mom. You are a despicable beast, and you will die for your crimes." Evan and Gavin took them both to the dungeons and locked them in the same cell he had once kept Shaylin in. Poetic justice. Tremaine came in, and he was told about his mother. He shrugged. "It's a shame he killed her." but she was never a mother to me. Galbur was the golden child. I was just the extra. We walked out and addressed the crowd. Shaylin stepped on the stage and walked to the podium. Dullendirk, I am your rightful queen, and I say no more. No more conspiring to take things that do not belong to us. No more blood magic. That will be forbidden in this realm. The new Corlin is not like the old one, Tremaine. She stepped back and let Tremaine speak. There will be many changes coming. Shaylin's coronation will be the same day as my ascension to Lord Corlin. The new Blood Elf King will be crowned the day after. Yes, I will be there. You will see my face a lot, so get used to it. I will be opening trade and commerce with Earth's realm. There is much we can learn. You will be permitted to travel to their realm. On petition and with permission. There will only ever be 2 portals to the Earth's realm. One in my castle on the hill, and one in Dullendirk Castle. Every traveler will have to issue petition a minimum of 2 weeks before their travel date. Shaylin stepped back up saying, I will be your queen, but I will be appointing a prince regent to run the kingdom. My place is with my mate. I will reserve the right to make decisions, and I will be here twice a month for personal meetings. My heart swelled with pride. She wanted to stay with our pack, and she let them know right from the start. That's my girl.
Epilogue.
The coronation was 2 days after the coup. Tremaine's ascension was first, so he could officiate my coronation and crowning. He made Galbur and Callan watch. Then he ordered Callan's execution. He decided to spare Galbur and chose to take him into his household. Not because he trusted him, but because he is his brother. That was 2 months ago. I walk into Aaron's office and climbed into his lap. The doctor said she's going to induce labor if something doesn't happen soon. 5 days, babe. He's 5 days late. I'm tired. He rubbed my tummy and said, Xander, it's time to come out and meet Mommy and Daddy. You've played hide and seek long enough. He kissed my neck and told me it wouldn't be much longer. I scoff and say, easy for you to say. I'm taking a walk. Then I am going to bake something sweet and gooey. I was stirring my apples and brown sugar into my melted butter to make the compote for apple caramel surprise. My dough was already rolled and shaped in the pans. That's when the first contraction hit me. I breathed through it and kept stirring. When the second one hit, my knees nearly buckled. Aaron came charging into the kitchen and asked, What's wrong? We felt your pain and Esterlin called us down. I smiled and said, My contractions have started. Let me get these in the oven. And set the timer. We can go to the hospital then. Why don't you grab our bags? He took off upstairs and I buckled over again. The contractions are strong and frequent. Barely 2 minutes between them. Aaron ran back in and said, Bag is in the truck. You need me to carry you? Because I will. I don't mind. Let me carry you. Yeah, I'm going to carry you. And he picked me up. Racing for the truck like the hounds of hell were on his heels. I giggled and said, We have time, babe. My water hasn't even broken yet. A contraction hit me as soon as he sat me on the truck seat, and I tightened my grip around his neck. Baby? Baby? Can't breathe? Can you loosen? Okay? Go ahead and squeeze. It's only fair, right? He chuckles as he feels me gradually loosening my hold. He grins. Well, that was fun. Can we not do it again, though? I laugh and apologize. Just as another hit. Oh my goddess, hurry up. Something's happening. I feel a lot of pressure. He pulls into the parking lot, barely stopping the truck before he's yanking the door open and lifting me out. He runs in yelling for Doc. She looks up and rushes over to a door and says, Lay her on the bed. Have her put the gown on. I will be in to check her in a minute. She walked away and another one hit. Harder than before, and I whimpered, Just as I feel a gush of fluid, I yelled, "I have to push." And Doc runs back inside the room. "No, no, 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 no. You're ready to push. Lie down and let me check what's going on." I lay down, and she puts my feet in stirrups. She reaches to examine me and says, "Fuck me, that's his head. He's crowning." Next contraction, bear down for a 5 count. Let's see where he's at. I did as she said, and she checked his position. She smiled. Wish they all went this smoothly. A few more pushes and Xander Steele will be saying hello to the world. She was right. 3 more pushes, and there was a screaming little pink monster on my chest. I looked at my baby, and he wasn't a little baby. He was huge. The cord was cut, and he was taken away to be bathed and weighed. A half hour later, he was brought back to us. Doc grinned and said, "Our biggest baby to date. He weighs 11 pounds and 4 oz. He is 22 inches long. He definitely overcooked." She walked out laughing at her own joke. Aaron held Xander against his chest, kissing his forehead, cheeks, nose, all while tears rolled down his face. I smiled at the beautiful sight and grabbed my phone for a picture. I want Xander to have nothing but happy memories with his mommy and daddy.
Time jump 2 years.
Things have been going wonderfully between the realms. There are wolves living in Dullendirk now. Even 2 vampires. They found their mates with the elves. 2 of our pack members have elves as well. Trade and commerce has been goddess sent. The elves excel at technology, and mixing a little elfin magic with it makes for an unbelievably strong security system. Ernie was the first customer. The elves completely revamped his security system, and he can monitor his staff and restaurant from anywhere in the world. Tremaine has grown so much. He is a phenomenal Corellin. He attends every major function, letting the elves know he is approachable and accessible. His presence is felt throughout the realm. I am so proud of him. Galber runs the Lord Corellin's household, a glorified butler. But he didn't die, so I guess he's grateful. Today is Xander's birthday, and he has been with Aaron all day while I set up for his party. Grandma and Grandpa are helping me. Thank goddess, I am hugely pregnant with fraternal twins, due in 2 weeks, or 3, if they are like Xander. I can't believe my baby is 2 already. I had just sat down, propped my feet up, and sipping on a lemonade, when Xander runs in the room. "Mommy, tell Daddy stop being dickless." I sat a minute, thinking what the fuck did he just say? And Aaron walks in the room. I said, "What are you being?" He looks at me like I'm crazy and asks, "What?" Xander tells him, "I told Mommy you being dickless 'cause you said my face freeze like that if I don't stop crossing my eyes." "Ah, now I get it." I smiled. "Honey, it's ridiculous." And my precocious son asks, "Why he want to be dickless twice, Mommy? It's enough to be dickless once. Not do it again. Daddy, you don't want to be ridiculous. Once is enough." Aaron busts out laughing. "Oh, my little man, Daddy never wants to be dickless," I yelled. Aaron. He picked Xander up and ran out the back doors.
The end.